Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Keshe Plasma Reactor Group for Wednesday, June 12th, 2019. Sorry to be so late starting here. Had some technical problems getting going. So we'll just get into the show here. Okay, so see we have a number of people here as the panelists. And I usually ask if anyone has anything to offer to start off today's show. I think Joel might have something to offer. Hello, Joel.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Fine, fine. I have some results to give to you about the pulse of the Magrav.
Yes, that would be interesting. Do you need a translator?
Perhaps, maybe.
In which language? For French or German, or how would you like it?
French, please, but I try to explain in English if you understand me.
Well, you seem perfectly clear and better than most English speakers at this point, so yes.
Oh, I'm beginner in English and it's very difficult for me.
Okay.
Well, I try.
We probably have a couple of people here that are able to translate for you.
Yes. So, do you see my presentation?
Yes, I do see it there behind my. Yes, there we go.
So I show you the first results of the studies about my new Magrav unit.
Okay. Before we begin, is it possible to make the screen a little bit bigger, the next size bigger, or is that what it comes at?
Sorry,
I
I
don't want
can't.
to.
It's a PPT
Okay, I
presentation.
don't want to mess anything up.
I
All right,
can't.
it's fine.
Sorry.
Yep,
So
we'll adapt.
you remember about this first evolution of the basic Magrav I showed you 2 weeks ago.
Yes, but you'll need to. You should refresh us, I suppose, and just let us.
I don't understand. Please excuse me.
Okay, well, just go ahead. Yes, we remember that.
With some links, special links with the coils. And I show you later a summary about the concept between a basic Magrav and a new Magrav. The first results, and then I show you that I have a problem with the power. The power shut down on the grid side, and the power output of Magrav was more important. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So I do a record of the values of power from the grid and out of the Magrav to give power to the star formation. So I took a video film to record the incoming from the grid and outgoing power to the Magrav to the star formation. The first step is to do a film. Then I transfer my video film on my computer. I record the power values using the film's timing. Here, I have a timer and I saw the different value and I compute them on Excel to build a diagram I represent to you. Do you understand what I mean?
I think so. Yeah. So you took values from your timeline basically in your
Yes.
video editor, and
Yes.
then put them into an Excel program to develop a chart
Yes.
or a
Yes. That's right.
graph.
That's right. It took me a very long time.
Yes, no doubt.
I did two tests, Magrav alone and Magrav under the star formation. This position is under star formation, and on the other test, I put the Magrav outside. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, that's clear.
Okay. So when the Magrav was alone, I saw this diagram. There is some pulse every minute. I think it's like a heart, you know? It's very...
Yes, but it seems like it was only for the first 2 minutes or so. Is that true that it had that? Or is it...
sorry, I don't understand.
I'm trying to see what the pulse width is there. That's not the 60 cycle hertz you're seeing here. We're seeing about 10 cycle or 10 per minute or something like that. Every 6 seconds. Is that what it would be?
It's not important frequency. It's like a heartbeat. This saying.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I just see it's quite erratic for the first 2 minutes, and then it seems regular after that. I'm just wondering why there would be a difference there when it first starts up. Is that from where you first plugged it in? Is that where the graph starts? As soon as you plug it in?
At the beginning, yes. I start here.
Okay.
And the film is 2 hours long.
Mm-hmm.
I show you the first 10 minutes because after 10 minutes we have the same scheme as here. You see?
Yeah.
For 2 hours it's the same.
Hmm.
Here it's the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
So I do the same thing with the Magrav under the star reactor, and I show you a diagram for 1 minute. The first minute of the film under star formation. It's very regular. When the Magrav is alone, some pulses are different, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The second minute, we have also a very regular pulse, but when the Magrav is alone, on the second minute, we have some pulse irregular.
Mm-hmm.
And after, we have the same things. Under star reactor, the third minute, all is right, and but when the Magrav is alone, we have some problems here, and I don't know what does it mean.
Yeah, that's very strange. Obviously, it doesn't like to be alone.
I don't know, but about the pulse, the time during the duration pulse
Duration of the pulse. Yeah.
Is of 2 seconds. You see, here, yeah, 1 second, 3 seconds, and so on. It's when the Magrav is alone. The pulses are more regular when the Magrav is integrated. That I said. When the Magrav is alone or when it's in star formation, it seems to respond to a request simply formulated by souls. It's very strange. I need a translator, please. Can you?
Okay. Can someone
Bonjour
translate?
Joel, c'est Nicolas, je suis ici.
Bonjour Nicolas.
Thank you, Nicolas.
Je suis toujours aussi mauvais en anglais.
Ça va.
Je travaille beaucoup, mais je n'arrive pas beaucoup. Hein. Franchement, je suis désolé. Ce que je voulais dire, Nicolas, c'est que, tu sais, quand on fait quelque chose avec un pendule.
Oui, ok, je traduis et puis on peut aller plus vite.
Ouais.
Okay, so Joel's talking here about when we use the pendulum. Vas-y.
On peut communiquer, on peut avoir des réponses.
We can communicate and we can get responses.
Bon, là, on a l'impression que quand on transmet une pensée, il y a un pulse qui se crée au niveau du Magrav.
Okay, so here it seems that when we have a thought and we have a thought that is transferred, that there is a pulse that occurs from the Magrav.
Alors bon, ça demande d'être vérifié, mais moi je l'ai fait. Ma femme l'a fait aussi. Elle était toute seule, dans une paix tranquille. Enfin, c'était vraiment tranquille, quoi. Et on l'a fait surtout le soir, parce que le Magrav, le soir, on a l'impression qu'il s'endort.
Okay.
C'est
Okay, je traduis.
Ouais.
Merci. So he's done this. He's done this with by himself, and his wife has done this as well, where they would connect to the Magrav with their thoughts, and they did this in particular at nighttime because it seems that the Magrav is sleeping.
Je ne sais pas s'il va être surpris son nom.
And oh yeah, okay, it has to be verified, but qu'est-ce qu'il y a d'autre?
Attends, oui, alors ce que je voulais dire aussi, c'est que il semble sensible aussi à la lumière, à la présence de la lumière du jour. Parce qu'à température constante, c'est ce que je viens d'écrire là, qui apparaît à l'écran, hein,
Okay.
il y a moins d'impulsions la nuit, enfin, dans la soirée, et pratiquement pas du tout la nuit.
Okay. So it seems to be, and this is what he's just put up on the screen, where it says alone or in the star formation, the behavior seems to be linked to the presence of daylight. The room is in constant temperature, and there are fewer impulses in the evening and very few at night. But in the daytime, it seems to do it much more frequently.
Donc tout ça, tout ça c'est un peu spécial, quoi. Hein. Donc je me demande ce qui se passe. Je pense que de toute façon nous sommes dans une technologie du vivant. J'ai mis des barrettes de ZNO à l'intérieur. Je ne sais pas si c'est pas par cet intermédiaire que ça fonctionne. Je ne sais pas.
Okay. Joel, ce sont quoi des barrettes?
Ce sont des petites colonnes de tubes. C'est des tubes en cuivre nano-cotés.
Ah, ok.
Qui sont sur le côté ici, là.
Ok, merci.
C'est nano-coté, ça. Et avec du ZNO.
Oui, je me souviens. Okay. So he seems to think that this has that we're dealing with something rather special here, and is and of course it's an alive technology. And he is wondering perhaps about the use of the nano-coated legs that have the ZNO GANs mixed in with them or in the nano-coating. And it's yeah, so anyway, he's curious as to what's happening here, but it seems very obvious that this is a living entity.
Ce n'est pas dormir l'âme, ce n'est pas dormir. Soul is not it's wake in the night. It's more open.
Oui, Balis, okay, but the art is slow, very slow in the night when you sleep. Hello?
Yes, the heart rate in the nighttime is slower
Yep, good
in the
point.
daytime. So the soul has better chance to travel. Is this what you mean, Joel?
Yes. Ce que je voulais dire aussi, c'est que les battements que l'on a le jour, on a en moyenne entre 8 et 13 pulses par minute.
Ok.
Et,
Je traduis.
Oui.
Merci. Dans le jour, okay, sorry. During the day, there are between 8 and 13 pulses per minute.
Et la nuit, on en a une, voire deux, quoi.
Oh, wow. Okay. And at nighttime, between only 1 and 2 per minute. So it's much, much slower.
Alors, il y a autre chose aussi, c'est que de temps en temps, la puissance absorbée au niveau du secteur, on the grid, tombe à zéro. Et
Okay. From time to time, the power consumed from the grid drops to zero.
là, j'ai une petite vidéo pour le montrer.
Okay. He's got a video to show that. Perhaps
Là,
that's gonna...
voilà
Oh,
le
yeah.
compteur, hein. It's the input and the output. So I start the video. You see here. That, zéro. Zéro. You see?
Yeah.
Et ici, 11,9. Voilà. C'est très surprenant.
Et ça dure de combien de temps?
Ça dure plusieurs secondes.
Okay.
Voilà.
So
Alors,
that's
donc,
a couple of seconds that pulse occurs.
alors, j'ai aussi fait la même expérience avec le Magrav de base que nous avons fait avec Adil il y a quelques mois. Et bon, on n'a pas de pulse.
Okay. So he's tested this previous Magrav unit, the one that he built with Hadi. And this Magrav unit that they built does not have the pulsing.
Je continue, je change de... Donc,
Oui.
pour ce qui va venir maintenant, début juillet, nous allons implanter une deuxième unité, une star formation, hein, inversée, comme nous l'avait suggéré Mario et puis Eric. Hein. Donc ça, c'est en installation et ça va se faire début juillet.
Oh, okay. So as per the recommendations of this group from Mario and from Rick, that Joel in early July will be adding a second star formation, and this one will be inverted in respect to the other.
Voilà, j'ai terminé mon exposé là-dessus. Je suis quand même très surpris, quoi.
Oui, okay, merci. So that's the end of his presentation for today, and he's of course very surprised with the results of this. Joel, si j'ai une question pour vous,
Oui.
C'est quoi le matériau ou les matériaux dans le star formation? Ce sont quels gants?
C'est du CO2 et des acides aminés de CO2.
Dans tous les trois?
Oui, oui. Alors les trois du bas, en fait, les sphères, il y a des sphères, dans chaque sphère, il y en a d'autres. Hein. Il y en a
Ok,
une
oui.
autre. Dans la petite sphère du bas, sur les trois du bas, c'est des acides aminés. Autour, il y a du CO2. OK?
Okay, je traduis. So I asked Joel what the different GANs materials are that exist inside his star formations. And he's explaining that inside the small inner core is the amino acids on the base reactors. And on the outside is CO2. Okay, vas-y.
Et au sommet, c'est l'inverse. C'est-à-dire que j'ai du CO2 dans la petite sphère et des acides aminés dans la grande.
Okay. And in the top, it's got the reverse of that. So CO2 in the middle and amino acids around the outside in the larger sphere.
Voilà.
Okay. Merci.
De rien.
Any questions? I'm sure Joel would be happy to answer.
Okay, well, we can open up the questions here to anyone that's in the chat, or if you have a question in the live stream, you can post it there or in YouTube.
Good evening, everybody. May I ask a question, please?
Do you have a pass? And who are you? Hi, Armin. How you doing?
How are you, Rick?
Not too bad. Not everything, but life is good.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
How he built your stack unit, energy unit? Can you explain?
Well, he did explain previously in showing all the connections and so on the last workshop, but maybe he could go through. It'd be good for all of us to have a look at that.
Alors, en fait, il faut que je recommence depuis le début.
Oui, ça va. Je suis ici.
Est-ce que tu peux, Nicolas,
Oui,
tu pourrais me traduire, s'il te plaît?
oui, sans
Donc,
problème.
merci beaucoup encore une fois. Donc, j'ai suivi les recommandations de Monsieur Keshe sur les derniers cours, et plus particulièrement depuis que je lui avais proposé un travail que j'avais fait, et j'ai pu discuter avec lui. Ensuite, j'ai suivi les cours, et il y a des choses très importantes qu'il a données dans les derniers mois.
Ok, je traduis. Armin, good evening, good morning. I'm going to translate.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. So he has followed the more recent teachings of Mr. Keshe, and after speaking with him, I don't know if that's in one of the classes or if that's in one of the sessions.
C'était le 14 février.
Une autre fois?
C'était le 14 février que j'ai discuté avec lui.
Okay. So he spoke with Mr. Keshe on the 14th of February about this. And there were some important changes in the Magrav in this version as opposed to the others that were built before, that were elaborated in, c'était lesquels Knowledge Seeker workshops? Joel?
Je vais c'est le 263, je crois.
These are coils or these are tubes?
Both.
C'était le 263.
Ce sont des coils ou des tubes?
Alors, c'est très important.
Okay.
May I annotate? Can I annotate?
Je peux
He's about to explain.
I will explain a little bit different. Maybe he will understand. Can I annotate, Rick?
Yeah, you should be able to. Maybe we need to okay that. Let me just see here. So, I think you should be able to annotate.
Really?
Do you see your annotate tools there, Armin?
Yes, maybe a minute. Okay.
Under view options there, perhaps.
Okay, I got it. Thank you. I got it? Oh, okay, let's clear this.
There you go. If you can make
When
it
you
a little
say-
bit thicker line, that might be nice too, just so it shows up better with
No
all the other
problem,
lines
1
here.
minute.
Thank you.
Right. How I'm gonna make this thicker? Maybe highlight. Okay. When you say gravitational and magnetical, how you define that?
Hello?
When you say gravitational and magnetical or gravitational, these tubes that you have, they both carry magnetical and gravitational.
Yes. But Mr. Keshe, hello?
Huh? Yes.
Mr. Keshe told us that the external coils were gravitational, and the small coils in red on the scheme.
Yes, this is magnetical. This is gravitational.
Yes.
But as a definite, what I want to explain, this magnetical still have gravitational too.
Yes,
And
of course.
gravitational
Of course.
has
Yes,
magnetical
yes.
too. Okay,
Yes.
this is the
I
outside
know
coil,
that.
this is inside coil.
I know that. I know that.
Huh?
And Mr. Keshe told us that it was not very good to soak the coils in the ganses. So I put the GANs in small tubes in the coils, you know?
More in between the coils.
In the coils and between the coils. CH3 in the coil, CO2 between the coils, COO in the small ring of coil.
CO2 inside.
CO2, yeah, between.
Let me explain a little bit. I will explain it a little bit different.
Yes.
If you have, look, consider this. Each GANs you have, consider is a strength.
Yes.
As a field strength.
Yes.
So how you pressurize your field that it opens up?
We must pressurize the field to the center. Yes or no?
No, here's your gravitational, here's your magnetic. But consider how you're gonna pressurize that the center you create a field that it's radiate out.
Yes, I agree.
As a strength, remember always, stronger sits on a boundary.
Yes.
So if you have zinc, you have Cu, you have CO2 or CH3, this is it has to be in this form, I think, because higher you're centralizing that it open. You have to pressurize. When we rotate the ball, we pressurize the center. Centrifugal. Then you have to understand outer coil or inner coil. If you put here, you have to always put higher and a lower.
Est-ce que je peux avoir une traduction, s'il vous plaît?
Ok, oui, oui.
Là, je...
On a perdu quelque chose ici. Just a second, Armin. He wants some translation. Would you be able to repeat, Armin, the last one sentence?
Look, when you rotate, correct? When you rotate anything, you rotate. So heavier it will be stick on a wall.
Okay.
But even in a coil, you have to understand, if I put on an upper coil, it always has to be higher strength than a lower coil.
Okay, I'll translate here. Joel,
Oui.
est-ce que vous avez compris qu'est-ce qu'il a dit avec le rotation du ballon sur le gauche?
Oui, mais la rotation, enfin, en fait, je n'ai pas de rotation, c'est pour ça que...
Ok. Il veut que vous pensez dans le réacteur du Star Formation. Dans ce setup,
oui.
Quelque chose de lourd va se trouver sur les...
Oui, sur les côtés par la force centrifuge.
Oui, exactement. OK. Et
Oui.
puis, il veut que vous ayez quelque chose de similaire dans les coils, dans les bobines.
D'accord.
OK.
D'accord. J'ai compris.
OK. All right.
Donc,
go ahead, please, Armin.
You understand, when you coil, you have to close the loop, let's say. Closing the loop that you create interaction.
oui.
But if you put heavier outside and lighter inside, you still have one drop here, so they are connected. So you create a flow.
Yes.
You understand? Then you will pressurize the center.
Okay.
And the result, it will be totally different.
Là, j'ai pas compris.
Le résultat va se trouver dans une direction complètement différente. C'est ce qu'il a dit à la fin ici.
D'accord.
Ça va?
Donc, il faudrait que je fasse une star formation avec les gants que j'ai dans le Magrav. C'est ça?
Ok, je vais demander.
Ouais.
So Joel is asking, is it best that he creates a star formation with the same GANS material that he has inside the Magrav's unit?
Of course. Or drop of it, whatever, we create drop of it, put it over there, that they have a connection. Until you don't have a seed, it's not gonna grow, huh? The fields go everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't put the connection over here, it's just gonna pass through.
D'accord, j'ai compris ça.
Okay.
You always have to have, if you want to make a connection, so you put one drop in that mixture. This is different mixture, this is different mixture, but it's still, if I have a one drop this one and one drop this one over here, so you create a connection.
Nicolas, est-ce que je peux te demander quelque chose?
Oui, vas-y.
Est-ce que comment il explique les pulsations du Magrav? Je ne sais pas s'il a vu ça tout à l'heure.
Okay. Armin, did you catch the bit at the beginning where we were talking about the pulses?
No, a little bit. I was like, maybe 10, 15 minutes. But I was before watching on.
Maybe we could review that again. I think it would really be good for all of us to see the chart again and the shape of the pulses and so on. I thought that was very good.
This one?
Yeah, even just the picture before that briefly, if Armin could have a look at that as well. Yeah, that one. He had basically put the, he used a film editing program, Armin, to record the power values on his meters while the film was running. And then he made an Excel program and built the diagrams, the graphs for the diagrams from that raw information. You go to the next page. And this is the image of the pulses that occurred. And this,
Okay.
he did two of them.
May I ask a question? When you are saying pulse, how are you going to create in plasma pulse? Only one way, when you have a higher and you have a lower as a strength. But if you have a drop, this one here and this one there, now you have a connection. So that's why this wave you can create, because you have a higher and you have a lower.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, go ahead.
How you're going to pressurize the center? This is whole point. You don't need to have, power connect. Even small battery can do that.
Est-il possible d'avoir... Tu peux me traduire, Nicolas, s'il te plaît?
OK. Il a dit qu'on a besoin d'une seule drop pour faire la connexion entre les deux. Et c'est la seule façon de faire un impulse dans le plasma, quoi. Pour qu'on a le sine wave qu'il a dessiné sur le côté de droite.
Ouais.
Et puis il a demandé, ou il a commencé au moment de vous demander comment on a créé ce comment dire non, c'est le pressure. Comment est-ce qu'on va faire la compression du plasma?
It's a field pressure.
Field pressure.
And so because these coils, they interact between each other too.
Yes.
Understand? And you have inside, they interact too. So it creates a vortex of the field.
Mais
this is, you have to pressurize to this to open up. Then it sustains itself.
c'est ce qui se passe, c'est la même chose qui se passe dans le Magrav classique. The same thing in the classical basic Magrav.
It's a collective now. It gives to the center. But you have the flow. You have to create the flow.
But is that the way it works in the regular Magrav, or is his special because it has this pulse to it where the regular one doesn't?
Why? Because it's still connected to the grid. You drain one way or another.
Yeah, but
there's some other stuff to it as well, Armin, that it was explained a little bit.
Yeah, like in the daytime, it has 8 to 13 pulses per minute.
Yeah.
In the nighttime, it has 1 to 2 pulses per minute.
Yeah, because the sun is missing, You forget about the sun's pressure. Nighttime.
Yeah, well, this is interesting because the regular Magrav doesn't do that, but yet his Magrav with the reverse windings, the reverse magnetical and gravitational coils, and the way he's orientated it has this pulse, has a definite pulse that he shows here. And not only that, here's the interesting part that you'll find interesting, Armin, which is he did 2 tests. One is the Magrav that he made alone outside of the star formation, which is what we see here. And he also did a test with the Magrav inside of the star formation. And that showed a totally different formation for the pulses, as you can see there.
Of course, you are doing. Now it's plasma, Rick.
Mm-hmm.
Our surprise should be that, oh, if we see interaction. No, how you create the interaction higher to lower to pressurize the center. Then it's open up. We all observing magnetical field, which we can see, or, magnetic and gravitational field, which we can record. But if we just understanding higher to the lower, so it always creates the flow.
Yep, a void in the middle.
Yeah, and then put the empty ball inside.
The voidness is the center of energy for everything.
Yes. See, if this coil touches to another coil very close, like, it's more transfer, it's more rapid. If you have a coil, and here is the another coil, this is the distance, huh? If you create, let's say, two coils near each other, moreover they touching, this is more faster. Consider everything, yes. In a center. If we pressurize enough, the center will open up. Then you can drain as much energy you like. That's why it's just with understanding we can easily do.
Do you need a translation there, Joel?
Yes, please.
If you want, I can repeat slowly. For him, you can translate.
Sure, sure. Let's do that.
He's good at it. He can expand more. Look, tell him create your coil near. Let's say if you have one inside gravitational and magnetic, but try to do very tight pack that they touch each other.
OK. Joel, est-ce qu'on a compris?
Est-ce que tu peux me traduire parce qu'il y a des choses qui me...
Oui, oui. OK, il a dit essayez de vous faire des bobines de Magrav qui sont très proches l'une à l'autre pour qu'on ait une interaction qui est différente quand les bobines sont d'une distance plus grosse.
En fait, est-ce qu'il s'agit de la bobine magnétique et de la bobine gravitationnelle qu'il faut qu'ils soient très proches, ou est-ce qu'il s'agit des deux couronnes?
Des deux couronnes.
Je vais revenir. Ah, ici, là. C'est cette distance-là?
Are you talking, Armin, this distance that he's showing with the cursor now? Between the inner and the outer?
Yes, but look, you put CO2, what's the red one?
Yes.
CH3, what's the outer one?
Yes.
CO, how about you do totally different? Middle, the first one you put CH3, the other one CO2, then you put CO.
Est-ce que tu peux me retraduire?
Oui, il a demandé, peut-être on peut faire quelque chose de complètement différent. On
Oui.
peut peut-être dans le premier mettre CO2. Dans le deuxième, oh, can you repeat the order, please, for him? I'm getting mixed up. I don't want to say the wrong thing.
CH3,
CH3,
Dans le-
CO2,
Ouais.
CO2
and copper, CO.
et CuO.
Now the
D'accord.
order
C'est-à-dire le plus léger dans le milieu et le plus lourd dans l'extérieur.
D'accord.
now the order is different.
Oui.
Est-ce que vous avez compris, Chou?
Oui, oui. Et là, c'est pour les deux couronnes.
Oui, dans ce sens, il vous demandait de faire quelque chose de nouveau, quoi.
Oui, oui, oui. Alors, CH3 au cœur, in the middle. CO2 around. CuO on the external. That's
Of
right?
course. As a strength, calculate the strength.
What, I don't understand. As?
What do you mean when you say as a strength, Armin?
Hydrogen, carbon,
Ah, yes, yes, yes.
CO.
Yes.
So the strength goes up.
And the external ring
goes
is the
down.
same?
Huh? What is it?
The external ring is the same?
External ring?
He's asking you because we've now described just the internal coil.
Let's not confuse
He's now
you. Let's not confuse you. Can you give me okay, let me draw it here. You have one coil, you have two coils. But in fact, you have four coils.
Yes.
Correct?
yes.
I'm just talking on a coil. If on this coil, I put, let's say, copper GaNs, and over here, I put CH3 GaNs. But when you do the mixture, let's say this is your copper, and this is your CH3, take one drop from here, put it here, and one drop from here, put it here. Mix it. Then, let's say if you put here copper, and you put here CH3, you create a flow as a plasmatic flow.
Okay, I'm going to translate quickly. Thank you for this. This is a much clearer explanation for me, at least.
Thank you.
Ok, Joel, ce qu'il a demandé ici, c'est quand on fait le CH3 et le cuivre pour un exemple ici. Dans le state du gaz, il vous demande de mettre une seule goutte de CH3 dans le contenant du cuivre et une seule goutte du cuivre dans le contenant du CH3, les mélange et puis quand on les applique sur les bobines, il y a un échange dans le state du plasma.
D'accord. Par contre, Monsieur Keshe a dit qu'il fallait plus tremper les bobines.
Oui, mais dans ce cas, c'est possible de le faire dans les coils qui sont faits du tube flexible, quoi.
Ah oui, dans le tube flexible.
Oui, on peut en tout cas faire ce qu'il a demandé ici, mais ça va additionner un autre champ d'échange quoi entre les deux gaz en plasma.
D'accord, donc si je résume bien, si j'ai bien compris, dans le CuO, je mets une goutte de CH3. Dans le CH3, je mets une goutte de CuO, c'est ça?
Oui, c'est ça.
D'accord.
Et puis, ça peut être...
À ce moment-là, c'est un mélange de gaz quand même.
Oui, c'est un mélange de gaz, mais c'est un mélange qui est très faible, mais ça fait un gros échange entre les deux.
D'accord.
C'est ce que j'ai compris là.
D'accord, d'accord. Oui, mais il n'y a pas de problème.
OK. Thank you, Armin. That's much clearer. I think we understood that very well.
Thank you very much.
Joel, est-ce que vous avez des questions pour lui?
Let me explain a little bit more. If you have a wet gas and if you have a dry gas of the same, can you explain me which one is more powerful as a field?
Si on a une gaz de CH3 qui est liquide et une qui est séchée.
More magnetic.
Solide.
They both carry gravitational and magnetic. But one is a wet gas, one is a dry gas. Of the same.
Je peux traduire.
Oui.
Okay, just a second, Armin. I'm going to translate this for him. Il vous demande si on a une gaz dans ce cas, CO2 ou CH3, c'est n'importe quel.
Un qui est sec et l'autre qui est liquide.
Oui, c'est ça. Et il vous demande lequel a une puissance plus haute dans le sens plasma.
Je pense que c'est le sec.
Okay, he says the dry.
The dry is more what?
Oh, I just asked him which one is going to be stronger in the plasmatic sense.
No.
No?
Okay, c'est my fault.
Perdu.
Look, they both are the same.
Tous les deux ont le même.
This is weaker, this is more open. As a field.
Une est plus ouverte et l'autre est...
J'ai compris.
Ok.
Ok, merci. More open.
You understand?
Yes.
So if you have a wet gas and if you have a dry gas, if you mix it together, you still create a flow.
Le flow, c'est un...
Échange.
Ah oui, d'accord. Ok. Thank you.
You understand?
Yes. Thank you very much.
This is whole the game, to create the flow.
Moi, je pensais
why
que...
we put one, let's say, pad and the other pad, 1 to, let's say, 50. But even if you mix in here dry and wet gas, you create the flow inside too.
Flow.
Of the same. Now you can mix these different mixtures and you can just do one drop here. This is where it creates the flow. Plasma don't have no name before it enters to our atmosphere. It's not copper, it's not zinc, it's not hydrogen, it's nothing. It's just a field. When it enters, then it different strength, it materializes itself. Understand? When it comes from the sun, there is no name. What you gonna call, let's say, that field, even you don't see it, until it enters. It's a different environment now. So here it materialized itself, the same field which was traveling from here, right here, as a gold. And the other one travels, enters here. Oh, this is a water, or it's oxygen. So now you are converting it to the fields. Back, what is the name of it? Only mass ratio and strength can create the flow.
Nicolas, je voudrais juste te dire quelque chose.
Oui.
Je pensais que le fait d'avoir isolé le CH3, le CO2 et le CuO, il y avait quand même cet échange. Et là, je pense que Armen est en train de me proposer de doper un petit peu cet échange, comme il a décrit tout à l'heure, avec la goutte de CH3 dans le CuO. C'est ça?
Oui, c'est ce que j'ai compris aussi.
Ouais.
Dans ce cas, il y a un échange, mais
Ouais.
ce n'est pas
Il n'est pas
d'une...
optimisé, il n'est pas d'une grande force.
Oui, c'est ça. C'est peut-être pas un échange qui n'est pas euh, qui est trop faible dans ce cas ici. Mais s'il y a un échange de 500 à 1 ou de 2000 à 1, c'est un échange plus gros et ça va peut-être ouvrir le plasma dans le milieu.
D'accord. Parce que là, il considère qu'il est pas assez fort. C'est ça?
C'est ça que je vais
Ouais.
lui demander ici.
Ok.
Armin, so there's a question from Joel, and I just want to clarify, just for my understanding as well. Perhaps I've mistranslated, and I don't want to do that. He's asking here that in the drawing that we see on the board right now, there is an exchange between these different materials that he's created, but that when you suggest by adding a single drop of the CH3 into the copper and vice versa, that you create a much larger flow and a much larger exchange. Is that correct?
Then it chases. Huh? Then you create like a seed. Fields go until they don't have a match.
I see.
Okay.
Okay, I'll quickly translate that. I just want to make sure this is clear. Ok, il a dit que c'est quelque chose comme une graine et que les champs vont passer jusqu'au point où ils trouvent quelque chose qui est similaire. Et si on n'a pas cet échange, les champs vont, comment dire, run away. Ils vont...
Oui, ils vont péricliter, ils vont s'affaiblir, quoi.
Oui, c'est ça. Oui. Mais
En fait,
s'il a quelque chose qui est de similaire, il va rebondir.
c'est comme il faut un gradient, en fait.
Oui. It's all about a gradient, Joel is saying.
Yeah, I thought that was a great line from Armin there. It's something like the fields flow until they no longer find a match, I think he said.
No,
I had
no
this
longer. Magnetical field, they go. Correct?
Yes.
But
yes.
if I don't have a match in here, I cannot interact. Do you understand?
So by putting the match in the single drop of the other,
then you create the flow because that single drop is enough.
it makes a 100,000 to 1 ratio or something that didn't exist before. Is that how you mean?
If you don't have a seed and you don't put in the ground, the seed don't grow.
Yes.
Okay.
Si on n'a pas de graines dans le champ, il n'y a pas de plantes.
Oui,
yeah,
oui.
the fields, sun fields, they enter. But what enter, it stays, which you have a match. Otherwise, they pass and they go to end of the universe. Each, they absorb what they need. But if you don't have a match, how are you going to feel going to pass through?
Yes. Thank you, Armen. Thank you.
Just consider if you have two reactors, if you don't put each drop here, there, and you don't have an interruption. You have a CO2 and you have a zinc, 2 balls, you know, and if you don't have this one drop here and the other one drop here, these fields, they go, they pass through. But if you have that little, see there, now they interact.
Okay.
Because this one has the same over here. Understand?
Okay. Thank you. Yes, I understand.
Just consider your work, then you will see more of a result. And always higher, lower, lower, and lower. As a strength, we call it carbon, we call it hydrogen, we call it helium, we call it argon.
Okay.
Okay. In a gas reactors which we have, okay, just if you remember, the center sits hydrogen because it's the lightest. Because then it's a heavier and heavier and heavier. That's why you could have pressurized the hydrogen to open up. Centralization, calling it. But just consider that way. Now it's a field. And don't call the names, just understand as a strength.
Yes.
I will
Joel, est-ce que vous avez compris?
go silent.
Oui, oui.
Okay.
J'ai compris. Là. Merci beaucoup. Il faut le remercier vraiment.
Okay, Armin, yes, he's saying thank you very much.
J'ai compris ça. Par rapport au CO2, le CO2, il peut rester de toute façon.
Okay, he's asking in regard to the CO2, which is a tube of itself in between these two coils. Do you think that that can remain in the configuration?
Look, always calculate whatever mixtures you put. Always calculate the strength.
J'ai pas compris là.
Ok, il a demandé de calculer la puissance de tout cas et de faire dans ce dessin qu'il a fait avec.
Oui.
Ok.
Mais le CO2, il influe, il n'est pas néfaste, c'est ça que je veux dire.
Je pense qu'on peut le laisser, mais c'est seulement important que
le gradient
soit correct. Oui, c'est ça.
Ouais,
et si c'est possible de le laisser, OK. Et sinon, remplacer avec quelque chose d'autre qui peut le faire.
D'accord. De toute façon, je vais progresser étape par étape, step by step, pour avoir un paramètre à la fois qui se modifie. C'est-à-dire que là...
Pour changer, oui, OK.
Oui, c'est-à-dire que là, je vais faire exactement ce qu'il a dit. Je vais injecter donc une goutte de CH3, une goutte de CuO dans le CH3, et je vais refaire les tests.
OK.
Voilà, si vous pouvez lui dire...
Oui, OK. So Armin, he's going to do this again. He's going to change one variable at a time, not to do too much, to be able to understand where the mistakes occurred or what was happening and what is happening. It's not, that's my word. I put that in there. But what I'm trying to express is that he wants to change one variable at a time, and he's very happy about what you've explained here, and to put one drop of the CH3 in the CuO and vice versa, and restart the tests and be able to chart out the progress.
Yes. When he puts in a jar, when you put the drop, mix it.
Mélange les deux qu'on fait le goût du chacun.
D'accord.
Little bit mixes, so it's there. So then you have interaction. Remember, plasma, higher, lower, you create low. mass ratio, you create a flow. Okay, when in a gas reactors, if you understand, we have hydrogen, then we go helium, then it goes carbon, and it goes argon.
Yes. J'ai tout compris, je pense, de ce qu'il a dit. Je suis content, vraiment. I'm very happy.
Okay.
Thank you, Armin.
He's very happy. He thinks he's understood everything that you've said. And thank you again. Thank you again.
You're welcome.
And thank you for me,
Next time-
Armin, too, because this is very useful for me. And I appreciate the information and to learn how to translate these words too.
Je profite que Armin soit là pour lui demander encore une chose, c'est à propos du centre.
Okay, Armin, he's got one further question for you in regards to the center, which is in the green box in this diagram.
Est-ce que c'est correct? Est-ce que ça, c'est correct? This one, this one, this one.
Ok, so, est-ce que vous pouvez expliquer juste pour moi, pour que je puisse lui dire en anglais?
En fait, dans la boîte cylindrique, ici, là, j'ai fait un mélange qui est le mélange classique de 50% de CO2, 25% de CH3 et 25% de CuO. Et pour moi, c'était suffisant pour qu'il y ait justement l'échange dont il parle. Est-ce que tu comprends?
Ok, oui. Okay, so Armin.
Est-ce que c'est correct?
Okay, he's asking if the center box mix that he has created is correct. He created that in order to create that exchange that you're speaking of between the coils and the center. And so the mixture is 50% CO2, 25% CH3, and 25% copper. And he's asking if that needs to be changed as well, or if that's correct.
Of course. Look, just consider it. You have a field strength. One is a copper. Let's say we go to aluminum. Look the gap. When somebody says, oh, this field and this field is, it's not good, or it's good, or it's, this is the gap that you play with. It has a magnetical and gravitational. There is no one-way traffic. It's a strength difference. Now you operate in this bandwidth. Why we put CH3 in the middle? If you consider in CH3, we have a copper still, we have a zinc, and we have iron.
Yes.
We're forgetting about this. When you have a vacuum, when you inject hydrogen, it sits right in the middle. Then when you inject helium, it sits above it. Then argon or carbon, they layer themselves as a strength. Weaker sits in the middle.
Oui.
It's same thing in centrifugal. Your gas, so it's here. And you have an empty center. You understand? So
Yes.
considering your work, you're doing a very good job. And my God, I was listening 15 minutes. You know, you can continue differently or understand differently. What if you add your skin? Create a connection. Or if you add your blood, you create a connection. Just remember always, if you have a connection, if your mixture one is different, the other one is different, you're still going to have from this one to add here, that they are connected. Always consider. Thank you. I will go silent.
Amen. So sorry. If we have an empty ball, an empty place in the middle, what will happen there? It's
Well,
low strength, but everything will meet there and create a strong energy.
well, you try, you tell me then.
Oh, come on. We have we have a meeting with Dr. Gadwa at 10 o'clock, and we are designing reactors there. So just in case you would like to help us there, it would be wonderful. Thank you very much.
Of course.
One hint I would say is that
Norman.
try to create an empty space. It's virtually impossible to start with. So think about
No,
that.
it's very easy, but I'm not going to.
Okay, well, if you try to do it physically, if you try to do it the physical way.
Nano coat the ball.
Hello, Armin. This is Mario. I have a question. What you just explained there, I'm having a little bit of trouble. My understanding is the hydrogen is on the outside, the largest diameter. It wants to be out there at the weakest field, and the stronger goes in towards the center. So, I mean, what you showed there, if you put the hydrogen in the center and you put these other layers around it, they're going to try to go in, and the hydrogen is going to try to go out, and it's going to compress those fields, and then you're going to open up the hydrogen so that it shoots out, literally like squeezing a water balloon, if you want, so that the
Yeah, but
hydrogen.
not if it's spinning. If your water balloon is spinning, Mario, it's a whole different situation, and all the lightest things will go to the center. You'll create a bubble in the center of that water balloon when it's spinning.
Uh-huh. Correct.
Well, okay. So then in the spiraling plasma field, you're saying if it's rotating, the stronger is on the outside and the weaker is in the middle?
No, the voidness of the void is in the middle. That's, you could say it's the weakest of the weak. You could say it's the strongest of the strongest. Is a seed that creates a tree, is the seed the weakest part of the weakest thing of the tree? Or is it the strongest? Is it the most strong?
No, that's the hole in the universe. That's the portal. where
Right,
there's,
exactly.
okay, so that's
Exactly.
where the soul of it is, which
Right,
is the strongest. And
right.
it spirals out, getting weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker as it goes out. That's my
Mhm.
understanding. So that center
As,
is
That's the fields you're talking about.
that's
That's
the fields. It's the structure of the
Mario,
plasma.
not the matter.
as
Pardon
it-
me?
No, not the matter, not the Gans material.
Can I?
Let, let Armin speak here for a
Gentlemen
second.
speak.
As the magnetical goes out, it weakens, gravitational gets strong. Mario.
Yeah, but
And
But the-
remember, plasma always higher, feeds lower.
yeah, but now you're talking about, you're talking about two different things. We're talking about gradient flow or field strength.
No,
Now
I just explained one thing. If the center is weaker and it goes, but still gravitational comes in.
Yeah,
But
and
here, as it goes, it gets weaker. But the gravitation will be stronger.
yeah, okay.
By mass, if this is higher or lower, so which one gives more? The higher one, the bigger one. Lower, still the magnetical goes too.
Well, but hang on a minute. If you have this as a spiraling out of the fields,
Forget about spiraling. We're not talking about spiraling. Fields
Well-
are 360 degrees. They travel. Now explain the spiraling. Spiraling, it's only by a strength.
is only what?
By a strength.
The spiral indicates the strength level at different diameters, basically, from the center core.
Right.
Which
Right.
I think, Mario, you would agree with. And the crossing lines would be certain points of
That's
strength
right.
level.
Where there's 12 of these spirals going out, crossing.
It's not
That's
12.
You have 12 segments, 12 spirals going out in all directions, but they cross each other at certain layers. Where they cross, they poke up a portal, they drill a hole, and then the splash is
Okay. In a gas reactor, gas, let's say liquid or matter, it's same. Let's say a gas, a molecule of the gas of the hydrogen.
Armin, could you get a bit closer to the microphone,
I
perhaps?
said molecule of the hydrogen. If you have in a vacuum, hydrogen sits, why it sits center? Then it's a helium. Then you go CO2. Then you go to argon.
Yeah, okay, wait,
Okay.
hold on.
If it's in a vacuum, they sit like this.
Yeah,
Go outside.
but that's because of the inertia on the environment of the Earth. Even though it's a vacuum condition,
What
it's
do you mean?
not.
It's not inertia. You just vacuumed it. You're not rotating.
No, there's
You bring the
plasmatic.
rotation in. Then
No,
it's a
there's
different
plasmatic.
ballgame.
No, there's plasmatic pressure on all of those materials. That's why they're matter.
Myro, you don't listen to the point that you can understand.
Okay, I'll listen.
I'm explaining the gas reactor and how all these materials, strength, they right away make a formation. Because it's in a vacuum. You give more space. So heavier gonna squeeze the lightest. But now when you create a rotation, that's totally different. All this strength is concentrate in the middle. Then the plasma opens up. if you don't squeeze, how do you want to open?
Yeah, I understand that, Armin. I totally understand that, but I'm looking at it from a
No,
different.
you are just going different pictures in your mind.
No,
But
no. I'm drawing the same picture.
12 level, 1 level, or 13 level. For me, it's a strength.
Well, hang on a minute. Can I explain what I'm seeing? All of this stuff with the matter level, you're calling the gas or the gas material or nuclear material, whatever you're going to use, is all subject to inertia. That is why we can interact with it. Our salt in our eyes is doing our eyes, and our ears.
Inertia comes only when it's the matter state you rotate.
It's caused by plasmatic pressure on the environment. There's rotation in the fields of the Earth all over the place.
Okay. But look, the Earth.
But
the crust.
Hang on a minute. Hang on. Look,
the magma,
you're using everything that's matter level. But you're not listening to me here, Armin, at all. Not interested to hear.
I will just go silent. That's fine.
Well, no, I don't want you to go silent, but I would like you to let me finish and say what a slightly different point of view of the same thing. I'm not contradicting you. I know you're correct there, but I think you're not seeing something.
I'm just going silence to listen to you. I just want to,
Yeah, okay, but feel free. But okay, that drawing you just.
Let's establish a couple of rules that it's okay to do what we're doing here, but do allow each to talk one at a time so that we don't get double conversations, because then obviously you can't hear the other person while you're talking at the same time. And so we'll sort of settle that out a bit. And also, you can't just go on for 20 minutes in a row kind of thing without the other person interacting. If you guys want to kind of work this out, that would be good. All right, go.
Yeah. Well, okay. Can you put the drawing back on? Or is it too late? Can you undo the erasing? Well, okay. The purpose of all of these reactors is what's happening at the center. When you're putting those gases in, you're doing them the way they're positioning to put the pressure, just like you said. But what's the purpose of putting that pressure? It's to drill a hole in the center. As soon as you get the hole, you get the fields spiraling out in 12 directions, 12 spiraling fields, creating layers of plasma. Those go weakest on the outside to strongest in the center. So you've got a central core that's the portal, and it's an intelligence. It'll manifest with intelligence and the ability to gather, store, and correlate information, and it records everything. So the purpose of the gas is to create a condition where you open up a central core and create a single plasma with multiple layers, a multiple core reactor of fields. And that's what you're looking to do with all of these reactors, the way I see it. So you use the gas material, you use the gas material. But once you have the plasma, it's strongest in the center field strengths. Each layer has a different field strength, and each field strength gets weaker as they go out. That's all I'm saying. That you're just putting pressure on the fields for the purpose of drilling a hole in the universe and creating, you don't create the life, but you create a condition where life is born. That's all I'm trying to say. And I was just thinking that point is getting missed here. It's focusing more on the gas materials or the gas materials than what it is that you're trying to do.
Actually, that's exactly what I thought Armin was talking about and what I was suggesting too. But anyway, I'm glad you.
Well, that's the point I was trying to put in there. And Armin.
Well, we were having a discussion about the reactors and about whether the heavy materials should be at the outside or at the inside, and these different layers and so on. Actually, that's been described both ways by Mr. Keshe at one point. the heavier material on the outside feeding the inside and the other way around. And that could possibly be done in both ways. But, you know, in any case, I think we can agree that the core soul, you could call it, or the center of whatever configuration we're speaking of, is where that free plasma is developed or contained, and
Yeah,
that's
that's
where
the
the
point.
fields come from. So
That's
I
the
think
point.
I think we can all agree on that, and I think Armin is fully on board with that. We were
Sure.
just getting to that point with floor number 2 here in the diagram. That was the voidness in the center that's left, so the free plasma can be
And it's the opposite of a void, right? It's the opposite of a void. It's where the soul of an entity is, where it's another spiral.
But does the soul have physicality qualities?
Well, it has physicality on its level. To other souls, they can see and hear and smell and taste, whatever.
Does it have physicality attributes?
Well, yes, but not to our five senses.
What physicality attributes that wouldn't be that? So it's got a physicality attribute that we can't see, taste, touch, feel, or sense in any way?
No, we at our outer layers don't see them any more than we see the fields of an iron magnet, a ring magnet.
Would it not be the voidness of the void in the center,
Well,
which is called
the center of the magnet is where there's a hole in the universe, and it's got a soul there, and those are layers.
Yes, but we wouldn't see it as the gases and other matter level things that might be in the reactor, because we're talking about the core here, the free plasma area.
Well,
so my point would be, is free plasma, can it be qualified as matter?
No, matter
stuff?
Is the
so
level.
Would we see it? Would we see it is the point?
Matter is only the field strength of the tunings of our eyes, ears, nose, mouth, and skin, period. If your eyes are not tuned to it, you don't see those color lights. Doesn't mean they're not there. If your ears are not tuned to it.
So to us as humans, what would we see what would be in the middle?
Well, you have emotional layers. Yeah.
Okay.
If we argue this way, we go nowhere.
Well, we are, John, actually. I thought we were doing
Armin
quite well.
is trying to talk in the background. And
I just mentioned that before you interrupted. Yes, we were about to bring him in here. Thank you for your loud and commanding voice there. Armin, could you please go ahead?
I will little bit disagree with you. I will try to explain you differently. When you say the magnet, the ring magnet, can you explain me where is the most powerful field centralized? Around the magnet or inside the magnet?
No, at the center where we don't see anything is the soul. It's where somewhere in there's like the soul of the man.
No, you're telling me that this magnet center have a soul?
Yeah. Might not be in the exact center. It might not be physically in the exact center, but yeah, it has a soul. Of course it has a soul. Yeah. Most likely at the center where we don't see it, but we don't see the soul of the man where there's an empty spot in our brain, but it's not empty. It's just that, our eyes are not tuned.
Very packed, packed field. Very packed field. Because all your body cells 24/7, they supply energy.
Yeah.
So the strongest as a field, it's its center.
Right. And that doesn't always have to be
But-
geographically in the center, because our soul is not geographically in the center of our body.
Okay, come on. See, you're going totally different. I'm trying to explain you something that you can really understand what I'm explaining to you.
Okay.
I am not arguing. I'm not contradicting with you. I am just simply explaining that you understand. Magnet, all this molecular structure that you don't see, but it's there and you're holding as a magnet, each proton, electron, they all give to the center. Strongest field, it sits here. Out of all. Because outside, as it goes, it weakens enough. But the gravitational, it gets stronger. That's all I'm explaining. You're thinking 12, 15, 20. For me, it's totally a field. This field has no name. It's not copper, it's not zinc, it's a field strength, which could sit here or here or here. Because it goes by atomic mass. If you consider one hydrogen or two hydrogen is helium. 3 hydrogen, add more energy, you create different material. Now, here is different strength, here is different strength.
Yeah, I totally understand that.
Different materials and you put names. For me, it's a one strength.
Well,
How are you going to cut it?
Well, hang on, Armin. You have a field of strengths, not just one. You have one as the totality. You have one that's the totality of the layer of the skin where we can interact with it, which is iron, nothing more than iron. So you have a layer that we can interact with because its field strength is in tune with our field strength at that layer. To another iron magnet, the outer ring is solid because it bumps its skin up to the outer layer. So it's not iron, it's a lower field strength down so many octaves below iron, right? That's all. So it's not just, you have one field strength that two iron magnets interact with, and you have a different field strength where we interact with it. But
you're saying you can interact with magnet?
Sure, I can lift the magnet up with my fingers and move it around, but only at that position. That inner part there, that's the iron. That's
Why
the part.
you cannot interact with the center then?
What?
Why you cannot interact with the center?
Because it's above my field strength of my fingers and my eyes. It's not in tune with me there anymore. It's like it's gone up beyond the piano. Why am I not playing those notes up there? I don't have them. That's all. It doesn't mean they're not there. It just means I can't touch them physically. But
you know, all I am over here to trying to explain certain things, guys. If you understand, that's okay. If you don't, that's fine too. I think differently, you think differently, but you know, all of us, we come here, we teach, that we learn from each other. But if we understand correct, we can teach correct.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not, what you're showing is I'm not disagreeing with it. It's correct, of course. But I'm just saying there's another aspect of it that is valid. I don't see how it's not valid. It's
Well, the thing is, Mario, every single person's point of view is valid. Every single person has a point of view of this picture we're looking at. And from their point of view, they're valid until they elevate that understanding to the next level, whatever that is. And that's the new truth for that thing. For us to get to this level to even discuss this whole thing might have taken several years of collecting bits and pieces of knowledge and making sure that you attend workshops and all kinds of stuff to even just begin to discuss this. And yet we have, fairly major differences in our understandings. But that's natural because every single person is on basically a different level, and we can level up ourselves or level down in our understandings. But to understand just means to stand under and to see if we actually understand what someone else is saying, then there's no argument, there's no but this, there's nothing, you just accept what they say. And then you can have your understanding and present that as well. But none of us are going to push our understanding on anybody else because they're always going to have their own understanding. This is the big problem in the world, is why there's wars. One's the developed countries are pushing their understanding against the undeveloped country, or vice versa, because as soon as the word understanding, to stand under, means in itself that there's no argument, there is nothing to argue because you understand the other person. If there's a lack of understanding, that's when we think that we have an important point that has to be pointed out for the other person and so on. And that becomes where we end up in conflict. So I'm just pointing out that it's hard to totally understand where someone else is coming from. But if we go through like we have been, step by step and very simply, when Armin, it's been really good with the translation tonight, because we have been forced to go through one sentence at a time and understand that. And especially with the translation of Nikolai there, it was really good to slow things down a bit. So anyway, I just wanted to sort of interject there that we have this sort of banter going back and forth, and some people will complain that it's too much sort of macho energy and so on. I think it's good to an extent because it gets the blood going, and it's good. We've all been friends here for a long time. There's no one's going to get
yeah, I don't mean to be
virtual
confrontational.
bloody nose or anything.
I just was just trying to open up a different point of view of the same thing without, detracting from what Armin was saying, just trying to add something about that, drilling that hole. That's not a small thing.
Well, you added it very well at the end there. And that was to me what we came to through the interaction. And you made it very succinct in a couple of sentences and about that drilling.
There is no such a thing, drilling the hole.
Okay.
Opening a portal.
I don't see
Well, that's Mr. Keshe's words. That's what Mr.
drilling the hole. You're squeezing to it open. How are you gonna squeeze?
It's a hole into another dimension. It's a higher order.
So you wanna say that in our Earth there is a hole?
What?
The hole.
Well, it's not a hole. It's a portal. That's all. It's a portal that where the soul sits of that entity. The soul is also a plasma, so it has a soul, and that's the way it works. Soul of a soul of a soul of a soul of a soul. That's the way it works. That's what Mr. Keshe's teaching is. I mean,
okay. I mean, it's really 12 o'clock. I have in a lab. I'm going home. So when I go home, then I will connect it back. Okay, it's 12 o'clock. I'm sorry, I have to leave.
Okay,
Right
I'm
on.
sorry.
Okay, Armin, thank you.
I hope it's not because of me.
Thank you, Armin.
Yeah, I think he had a
Thank you.
deadline there to be out of the office or whatever.
Thank you, Armin. This is Nikolai, in case I drop out this evening. Thank you.
Nicolas, tu peux dire merci beaucoup à Armin aussi de ma part. C'est vraiment, c'était un bel enseignement.
Yeah, I want to say thank you as well, Armin. I appreciate you.
It's interesting, the interactions in the context of, I mean, we're talking about the most core basic elements of knowledge and understanding and interaction and perception and all of that within some of the sentences that come up. I mean, when you start talking about the void and whether it's got all energy of the universe or nothing, or maybe both, alternating back and forth. And it gets into some pretty big ideas. And of course, everyone's going to have their perceptions on what that looks like and have, it's like the story of the elephant in a dark room when there's, four people are feeling different parts of the elephant and describing what this animal or what they're feeling. One thinks it's a tree trunk and another something else and so on. So anyway, let's get back here. Does anybody have something they'd like to bring in? We'll get back to you, Mario, in a second here. Let's just see if anyone else has. I see Zane is here with his microphone open.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Hey, okay, let me ask you a question, man. Let me ask you a question.
Who
right?
are you asking? Who are you asking, Zane?
All of us. I'm asking everybody. Okay, check this out. The Earth is of magnetic gravitational field strengths of the elements that we are, right? Right?
Say that again. Say that again slowly.
We are amino acid based. Okay, so what if we fed the ground, okay, which would turn us from magnetic to gravitational through our amino acid using the Earth of our amino acid, the environment. Well, that's kind of difficult to get into, which it isn't, because I mean, whenever we breathe, right? We breathe in elements and we breathe out what we don't need. But if you were to open your mouth and breathe out slowly, you would produce the amino acid of whatever element it is that you just breathe, right?
And your point is?
What if you were of a magnet, which you are, okay? What if we had something, okay, that would make the Earth turn that into a gravitational for us, as well as the environment, because it would come to an evolutionary point where we all know where we exist and everybody knows what they need from her as us. Did that make sense? Okay, we are magnets, right? Do we even understand
what do you mean we are magnets?
What an atom is? Can someone tell me what an atom consists of? Can someone tell me truly what an atom is?
Sure, a collection of magnetic gravitational fields, let's say.
It's Next a plasma. Question. It's a plasma. Magrav fields in a container. That's
okay, so check this out. So what if everything just needed to be asked backwards, or 163 degrees the other way. Like we fed the ground to produce the ground to pull the magnetism out of us, where we would become gravitational and we wouldn't have to walk, or we wouldn't be sitting here doing the things that we're doing now. Because I mean, everything would be
something
in a natural
you've
state. It would be as an evolutionary period that we existed in a long time ago, but we just haven't got there now.
Is this something you've tried and it works?
Well, it's something I'm doing now, and hell yeah, we're getting there. You know, yes, we are getting there. I say we, but it's just me, my mind, and me and I. But think about it. Okay, we are of magnetic gravitational, right? But we're on this Earth plane. We are magnets. We're stuck to this planet. She is moving so fast, spinning, dude, and we're standing here like there's nothing moving. But we're stuck to her. What if we fed the ground, okay, and produced the gravitational field that we needed through the elements of the Earth, which then transversed us or transmuted us into gravitational rather than magnetical? Wouldn't the air that we breathe, okay, if we breathe properly, produce the amino acid, everything that we needed to live, period, for existence? And how long is existence? Holy shit. Our ancestors have been here forever. Why have they been here forever? What have they done? You know they live in the ground. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get out there or anything. You know.
Yeah, you're pretty far out there, Zane. I think that's probably good enough for now. Any questions for Zane, or shall we just move on here? Okay, we're going to move along, Zane. I'm sorry, that's enough for now. Thanks.
Can I ask a question of our friends here with these reactors, this drawing you have? The name, sorry. But what is the purpose of these reactors? For energy or spaceship? Or, I mean, why are you doing this?
You missed the whole first part of the presentation.
Okay, you already went through it. I'll watch it later then.
And previous one as well. What it is, Mario, is quite interesting. I told Armin about this, and that's probably why you guys were arguing, because you didn't know what this was about to start with. It's all about a pulse, heartbeat, your favorite topic. Remember this whole thing, this Magrav, the way he built it with the reverse coils, the gravitational on the outside and the magnetic on the inside. And the way he put the ganses and way he built his Magrav.
If anybody paid attention, man.
Sorry, Zane. I'm talking, Zane. Sorry, I'm talking, and you are gone. I'm sorry. Yes. That was not called for. Goodbye.
No.
Okay, I think I understand now. So that's okay. So the idea is he wants to open a central core.
No, and let me finish before Zane interrupted there. I was trying to say that what he has created is a pulse in his Magrav, and he's measured, a regular Magrav does not have this pulse, okay? But his has a pulse, and it has a different pulse when it's alone outside of the star formation compared to when it's inside of the star formation. And he's made graphs of this and made it all. You can see the way the pulses go, and when it's alone, it's a more erratic of a pulse. When it's in the star reactor, it's very consistent. And these are between 8 and 13 pulses per minute in the daytime, but only between 1 and 2 pulses per minute at night. Per minute we're talking about here, not hertz, but pulses per minute. So this is very interesting, and you know, he's mapped it out and put a lot of time into this this whole thing, and measured it with a meter that shows the actual pulses. Anyway,
How
that's
is
why
it measuring the pulses with the how are the pulses manifesting?
on a meter that shows on his video with 2 meters, one with the
So he's got it plugged in. He's got it plugged into a device, and he's getting these pulses.
one that's measuring the input and one that's measuring the output.
Oh.
And so there's a, and then
So
he took a video of that. He took a video of that so he could notate the actual pulses, like according to the meters when they were, you see them in the picture there, the little meters. And that was part of the video program they used to video the whole thing and notate the actual pulses and put them into an Excel spreadsheet in order to make the graphs.
Right. So congratulations, he's a father.
Exactly. Well, that's why it's so important. Yes.
So what was the idea with Armin then? Sorry to rehash this, but maybe what's the idea, like, or what's the problem that you need help with, that he needed, you know, or is it just showing that is fantastic, right? But was there some problem he was trying to work out?
It was an observation. This is Nikolai speaking, by Armin as Joel was presenting this, and this is the second time that Joel has presented this. There was obviously more data tonight than there was in the first presentation. But this is the second time that Joel had presented this, and I'm not sure whether or not Armin was around to see that other presentation or not. So he jumped in quickly as he saw the different types of GANs material that were being shown on the diagram, and immediately started his opinion of the description of what was going on. And then we jumped into from there into the different field interactions that could be occurring in a setup where there was more of a dynamic flow occurring than what Joel had set up.
Right. You want to add extra layers, basically. In other words, you need to connect, I got that, right. You want to put a little bit of the CH3 in the, but you also have connections already with the carbon and the carbon. But yeah, you want to put a little drop of each so that they have a direct flow through them. But the way you have those boxes in the center, you kind of already are doing that, right? But, okay, but so maybe I have some suggestions for tests, you know? I mean, see if your mind can slow it down or speed it up. See if you can actually.
Well, that was part of it, actually.
Oh, did it work?
Been there, done that, Mario. It's in the replay.
Yeah. Did it work? Yeah. Did it work? I'm going to watch this again.
Yeah, you're gonna have to go back to the beginning and watch again. But both him and his wife are able to tune into the device when they are in the room, when they're apart, like when there's only one of them in the room, when both of them are there, and they usually do it at nighttime because they seem to think that that's when the Magrav is sleeping, and so
probably not sleeping; it's dreaming. But it's
that's sleeping as compared to being awake in the day when there's sunlight.
Yeah, that's like when our soul is active, but where our physicality is horizontal and sleeping. So it'd be similar, perhaps. But maybe that's the strongest fields when the heartbeat goes slow.
Could be, yeah, or just that's the environment. It's just the pressure on the environment. You know, it's detuning it. It's when Mr. Keshe talked about the leaf, how the trees, all it has to do is the pressure from the sun is tuning it a little bit higher because it's pressing up against it. Well, and then, it's like a guitar.
Yeah, actually, exactly. Hold that point, hold that thought for a minute. That reminds me, I had a question for Joel in regards to that. Whether the sunlight, whether he tried it with a pulse in actual sunlight. He mentioned light from the daytime made the pulse faster. So would the sunlight on the unit increase the pulse, like, quite a bit. Have you tried that? And if not, could
Rick, do you mean like in a window, like light coming directly
yes,
to the unit?
yeah, and preferably even maybe even outside or something where it's not through a window. But yeah,
Right. But as opposed to leaving it in the bedroom and bouncing a mirror onto it or something like that.
well, that might work too. But direct sunlight is like the sun's rays directly some way or another, or not just ambient light. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. No, I do. Is he still in the class here?
I think so. Yes, and his
Okay.
mic's open there.
Ok, Joel,
Oui.
Rick a demandé si c'est possible de montrer le Magrav dans les rayons du soleil direct ou indirect. Et il a une question qu'il voulait poser plus tôt. Dans ce cas, est-ce qu'on a observé le Magrav dans la lumière directe du soleil?
Oui, je l'ai fait. C'est-à-dire que le Magrav est derrière une fenêtre. Et dès que le soleil apparaît, les impulsions sont plus importantes en ombre. Et le soir, quand on ferme le rideau, les impulsions baissent beaucoup.
Ok.
Et la nuit,
J'ai traduit. Ouais. Merci. Et puis je retourne avec vous. Rick, so yeah, he's explaining to me that the Magrav is on the inside of a window, and as the sun comes up in the day and it hits the window, and by consequence, the Magrav, the impulses begin to become more frequent. And at night, when they close the blinds and it doesn't have that direct sunlight, then they begin to slow. Oh, Joel is showing some more here. Vas-y, Joel.
Ici, là, la fenêtre est là.
Ah, okay. The window is in the top right, just above the star formation there, with the orange curtain. Et le Magrav est-il déjà été à l'extérieur de la maison ou
right. Yeah.
Non, il est derrière une fenêtre. Là, c'est dans la maison. Et,
ouais, j'ai compris, mais j'ai demandé seulement s'il a, dans sa vie, déjà expériencé à l'extérieur.
Non. J'ai juste fait des photos quand j'étais en train de l'assembler. J'ai fait des photos à l'extérieur, mais il n'a pas travaillé à l'extérieur.
Ah, okay. Rick, so just to answer your question, the Magrav has not been outside. There are some photos of Joel while he was working on him outside, but it was never running outside.
And was it in the light in that picture that we see here? See, it seems like sunlight coming in on it.
Yeah. So the window is open in the daytime, and then they close the blinds at nighttime. So there is direct sunlight on the unit.
I see. Very good. Thank you.
This is going to sound kind of weird, but everything I say sounds weird to most people. So, okay, maybe a little experiment. The essence that's there, that is an intelligence, and you're linked to it. And its purpose is the purpose of all plasma in the universe, to serve and not be served. So it's looking to serve your needs. And if you ask it to teach you about itself, ask it to show you what it is. Treat it like it's an intelligence, and ask of it what you want. Yeah. And knowledge, that's what you want. Oh, well, no, I shouldn't say that. That's presumptuous. But maybe try something like that, ask it to serve, to teach you about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Joel, vous avez compris?
Oui. Il me dit de me servir du Magrav pour l'interroger, demander qui il est, et de me servir de lui pour apprendre, en fait, c'est ça, hein?
Oui.
C'est ça?
Oui, c'est exactement.
Ouais.
Okay, there's another thing too that I'm pretty sure is happening, that the free plasma that's manifesting itself is somewhere between you, probably you and your wife, and it. You see, it's connected to you. It's your interaction with it that's manifesting the essence. It's a life form created due to the interaction of not just it, but you. See, so, you know, you can look at the reactor because, you know, I used to do that, stare at the reactors because it gives me confidence, you know, but the entity itself, you know, is there, but probably not. It's in between you guys, right? And it's multiple connections, so.
Là, je n'ai pas tout compris, Nicolas.
Ok, je vais traduire un peu.
Merci beaucoup pour tout ce que tu fais.
Oui, pas de problème. Mario, il a dit que le réacteur, dans son cas, il le regarde chez lui et ça lui donne la confidence avec son Magrav ou avec son réacteur. Mais pour ce qu'il a dit avec vous, c'est que votre femme et vous avez une connexion avec le Magrav ou le système ici. C'est plus que seulement le Magrav, mais c'est entre vous et que le free plasma existe dans un environnement qui est entre vous trois. Ce n'est pas dans une location et une autre. C'est
mais de toute façon, on est dans la physique quantique, on est en plein cœur. C'est avec cette configuration et ce que décrit Mario, on est vraiment dans la physique quantique. C'est ça pour moi.
Ouais, ok.
Je ne sais pas si vous êtes d'accord ou pas, mais pour moi, c'est ça, et c'est un ressenti.
Oui, ok, c'est bon. Moi, je suis d'accord. Ouais, ok, je pense qu'on peut passer à la prochaine question si
D'accord.
quelque chose d'autre. Do you have anything else, Mario? I think we are on the same page there.
No, I'd like to hear the results. But yeah.
Of next time, you mean, with the adjustments again?
Yeah. Actually, you know, the information, if you get, well, no, I'll just leave it there. Yeah, thanks, man. That's fantastic work there, man. I'm sorry I missed this. I'll go back and watch, you know. But that's beautiful, man, that you got that documented and everything too. So thank you.
Yeah, it's a very nice piece, and it's worth going back and having a look at for sure. It's one of the better significant sort of presentations in recent times. So very much appreciate the input here, Joel.
Merci, Joel.
Thank you. Je voulais dire une chose. Ce que je vais faire par rapport à ce que nous a dit Armen, je vais faire un autre Magrav parce que moi je veux pas, je considère que ce Magrav est vivant, celui que j'ai proposé aujourd'hui, je considère qu'il est vivant et je veux pas le détériorer ni le modifier. Il faut que si tu peux le dire, ça, c'est très important pour moi. Je préfère constituer un autre Magrav avec les modifications que Armen a proposées.
Okay,
et puis développer ça.
Wait, okay. Okay, so Joel is first of all thanking everybody for their appreciation of his project, which has become more than a project. It's become a living entity. And so he is very cautious about changing the current Magrav because in his opinion it's alive. So what he's going to do is to build a second Magrav unit with the modifications that Armen has recommended, and in his opinion that's a more appropriate way of adjusting this experiment and to continue with the new adjusted Magrav and have further information for us when that becomes available.
Yes, I think that's perfect. That's the way to do it for sure.
Yeah, and if you get another reactor going and you can feel a presence of that one, then you put these two together.
Put them together with yourself, then you have a trinity, actually.
Yeah, well, you'll get that. That's right. If that,
Yeah.
but you get one single plasma formed out of these. So you have a free plasma connecting to a free plasma with a free plasma. Once that's born, then you can dismantle the reactors. They're just the scaffolding. They're just what you used to create this condition. Now you have a life form that exists as long as it wants to, right? And another thing is, if you can get...
Hang on a sec, I might have to translate.
Oh.
Yes, please, thank you.
Joel, est-ce que vous avez compris ou j'ai besoin de traduire?
En fait, il parle de cette configuration qui est à l'écran, c'est ça, hein?
Oui, c'est ça. Et il a dit, quand vous avez fini le deuxième Magrav ou le deuxième système, dans ce cas, on voit 2 star formations et une Magrav, mais ça peut être d'autres. Et ce qu'il a dit, c'est quand vous avez cette interaction entre les deux star formations et le centre Magrav, que c'est les interactions qui existent du free plasma au free plasma et un autre free plasma. Et dans ce cas, on peut changer de position des Magrav. Et on a l'échange qui existe dans le système plasma et non le système qui se trouve dans le matter state.
D'accord.
Okay.
I think, I just want to say, I'm 98% sure you can remove those reactors there. You know, once you remove them and don't see anything, I get very scared, you know, but it's there. I'm sure of it, you know, that you can remove them. There might be some possibility that you have a problem when you dismantle the reactors, is the way you do it or something like that, that it could collapse the field. I don't think so, but anyway. Also, if you can get a pulse of 60 or 50 hertz wherever you live, you have unlimited energy for your house from that reactor, right?
Mario, est-ce que...
oui, je peux traduire.
Oui,
ce qu'il a dit plus tôt, c'était qu'il est presque sûr qu'on peut dismantle, en français, c'est quoi? Ce n'est pas échangé, mais c'est wow, le mot me manque.
C'est pas grave. C'était quoi en anglais?
Dismantle.
Non, je sais pas ça.
Ça s'est changé complètement de take away le système. Et il est presque sûr que ça va fonctionner quand on a remove les Magrav et les autres systèmes. Mais pour lui, c'est tellement choquant quand on fait quelque chose de cette manière. Et le champ existe, mais le Magrav n'existe pas. Pour lui, ça c'est un problème qu'on a besoin de surmonter. Et puis, puis il a dit que si vous avez une pulse de 60 Hertz, ça veut dire 60 fois la seconde. Oui,
là, ça fait du courant.
Oui, ça fait du courant pour la vie, quoi, pour tout temps. Et si c'est possible d'avoir quelque chose comme ça, c'était le free energy pour la maison.
Ah oui. Oui, c'est pas trop
I just wanted to make
hang on a sec. Sorry, I just want to hear what he's got to respond.
C'était pas trop ce que je recherchais, mais c'est bien, hein, c'est tant mieux.
Ouais,
mais
okay.
Bon, pour le moment, j'en suis pas là. Moi, je veux vraiment approfondir ce qui se passe avec ces unités merveilleuses, quoi.
Ouais, ok. Moi, je suis avec vous.
Oui.
Ok, so.
Je le sais, je le sens, hein, de toute façon.
Moi aussi. So Mario, what he was explaining was that thank you that 60 hertz would be fantastic, but that's not exactly what he's researching here. And he's going to try, and he is going to complete his research in this field in the way that he finds is correct, and continue to move along that path.
Yeah, that's totally. Yeah, I understand. Me too. I've never really been interested in that aspect of it, but I just wanted to say that
it is interesting, though, to consider that we've created a pulse here that happens every few seconds, or he's created a pulse that happens every few seconds. Yeah. So over time, if that could be adjusted, that would be interesting.
Sure, and each of those pulses has its own harmonic overtone series. In other words, it's got all those pulses 2 to 1, 3 to 1, 4 to 1 within its structure. So you can tap into that, but that's another thing. And I just wanted to make a disclaimer. I'm pretty sure that what I said about dismantling the reactors is correct. I just feel like I need to make a disclaimer in case you accidentally kill the baby, so to speak,
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be a problem. I think he's not. I don't think he's going to dismantle them anytime soon.
Yeah, I felt the same way. I still feel the same way. So anyway, thanks again.
No problem.
Good
Jo,
morning.
vous avez compris ça, ou est-ce que j'ai besoin de traduire un peu?
S'il te plaît, oui. Excusez-moi.
Okay. Moi, j'ai dit ce qu'on a parlé avec le 60 Hz et que je trouve que ce n'est pas très important, ou vous trouvez que ce n'est pas le chemin pour le moment. Et il voulait aussi dire que ce qu'il a dit avec le dismantle, si c'est possible de chercher ce mot en français pour comprendre, de ne le pas faire si vous... il voulait avoir un disclaimer, il a dit, c'est-à-dire il n'est pas sûr de ce qu'il a dit et pour ne pas tuer le bébé.
Oui, j'ai bien compris.
Ok.
Donc je vais continuer à travailler là-dessus. Il n'y a pas de problème.
Ouais, ok.
Et encore un grand merci, Nicolas, pour tout ce que tu as traduit. Vraiment.
Oui.
Vraiment. Merci beaucoup.
Merci de mon cas aussi. J'ai beaucoup appris ce soir.
Oui. Par contre, je ne sais pas si j'ai beaucoup de gens qui m'écrivent sur le Facebook et je ne sais pas si je dois diffuser ça. Il faudrait en parler avec Rick, qui me dise si je peux le faire ou pas.
Si vous pouvez expliquer quelque chose
sur le Facebook, parce qu'il y a beaucoup de gens qui savent plus ou moins que je travaille là-dessus et qui sont intéressés. Et je ne sais pas si c'est bien de dire ça, de le dire sur le Facebook. Je voudrais savoir si Rick est OK avec ça.
Ok, je vais lui demander.
Yeah.
So Joel's asking Rick if this is an okay project to share on the Facebook or Facebook pages, and he's got lots of people that are interested, and he's wondering if that would be a location for this, or if there's any reason that you see for not doing so.
No, I think it'd be a fine way to do it. And if you want to put the link into the chat here for people to connect with that, what Facebook, you're talking about your personal Facebook page? Is that where it'll be, or some other special page?
Keshe Foundation.
And the Keshe Foundation. Okay.
Oh yeah. Is there a group that he could share this to, which would be the most useful, perhaps? Would the golden age of GANs be?
The golden age of GANs is a great way to do it, because you'll get input from people from all over the world. They're very much interested in this. But also this is actually a plasma scientific journal type material. So the idea is that once you start and once you have that first plasma scientific journal entry in, that you can add to it. So you add, the next part of the experiment to that original plasma scientific journal entry with all of its data and pictures and so on. This would be a beautiful one. And then it would be in the Plasma Times in the next month or two, Plasma Times.
Right, okay.
Translate that.
Joel, est-ce que vous avez compris ce que Rick a dit? Ou...
Rick, alors je vais essayer de comprendre. C'est que Rick est OK pour que je le diffuse sur le Facebook de la
Oui.
Fondation, c'est ça, hein?
Oui, oui, sur le,
Parce que,
sur le
en
site
fait,
web de Facebook
oui,
qui s'appelle The Golden Age of GANs.
oui,
And we can also post in at least some things, or a link is better to post in the Keshe Foundation or Spaceship Institute Facebook as well.
OK. Et
d'accord.
il a aussi dit que c'était que cette expérience est bien fondée dans la hard science avec beaucoup de notation et que c'était une bonne what was the name, Rick? Sorry, of the
There's the Keshe Foundation.
yeah, no, the article that you were recommending,
Oh,
the
in the
plasma.
Plasma Times, it's called.
Okay, and how does he go about doing that?
And that would be the Plasma Scientific Journal entry.
Okay.
Is the technical thing there.
OK. Ça s'appelle le Plasma Scientific Journal et c'est quelque chose qui se trouve dans Plasma Times en quelques mois ou quelque chose. Et il a dit, Rick a dit aussi que quand on a fait le premier de cette entrée dans les journaux, on peut avancer cela avec le temps. C'est-à-dire, dans quelques mois, une autre Magrav existe et on peut ajouter dans ce cas.
Je pense que je vais attendre un petit peu alors de faire le deuxième Magrav soumis par Armen pour vraiment faire la comparaison. Je pense que c'est bien.
Oui, moi aussi.
Parce qu'en France, j'ai quand même un souci, c'est qu'il y a beaucoup de gens qui travaillent sur l'ancien Magrav avec des coils gravitationnels à l'extérieur, magnétiques à l'extérieur. Et bon, il y a deux écoles, quoi, donc c'est un peu difficile pour moi.
Oui, OK, je comprends. So I think he's on board with that, Rick. It sounds like that's a good way to start. He would like to build a second Magrav in accordance to Armin's classifications or clarifications, and that perhaps he would do a little bit more work on the one that he has now in terms of doing some more study. But he's also explained that in France, there are a lot of people using the old Magrav system, as he's called it, with the coils inverted, the magnetical on the outside and the gravitational on the inside. And so he wants to have a little bit more, I think, data or work to show what he's doing in comparison to what everybody else is doing, so that they don't maybe get confused by it all.
Yes, and it would be good for Mr. Keshe to be able to see all this as well and get some input. Maybe we should show this in the Knowledge Seekers workshop coming up. That would be, I could show excerpts out of the plasma group, of the pictures that we see here. Or if Joel could be in the Knowledge Seekers workshop, then we could probably arrange to show this. I'd have to clear it with Mr. Keshe first, of course.
Right. Okay. I think that would be good if between this workshop and the one that happened a few weeks ago, if you wanted to pull, the short Rick notes, for lack of a better term, and present that to him, then that would lessen the load on Joel a little bit.
Okay.
That's just my thoughts there. But then, yeah, I think it would be great to have him in the Knowledge Seekers workshops to have some other input from people that frequent that class.
Right. Well, would Joel want to present in the workshop, or would he rather me just sort of show it to Mr. Keshe and see what he thinks, or whatever?
Sure, I'll ask. Joel, est-ce que vous avez compris la question de Rick?
C'est pour faire une présentation, c'est ça?
Oui, il a demandé si vous voulez faire une présentation à Monsieur Keshe dans le Knowledge Seeker Workshop ou est-ce que c'est mieux si Rick lui montre ce que vous avez montré ici dans la classe ici et à celle d'une de-
Mon problème, mon gros problème, c'est la langue. Vous avez bien compris que je ne parle pas bien anglais. Et je lui ai fait déjà une présentation, ça a été un peu difficile. Et,
OK.
ou alors, je préfère que Rick lui montre, ou alors il faudrait un traducteur.
OK. Oui, peut-être pour le moment, Rick pourrait lui montrer des excerpts de la classe ici et de celle d'une semaine la dernière, et
Oui,
puis les montrer à lui et s'il veut, s'il est d'accord avec, peut-être on pourrait avoir moi ou quelqu'un d'autre qui c'est les deux langues et
oui, oui,
oui,
oui, oui,
ça va.
oui, oui.
OK. Je
Moi, je trouve
traduis à
que
lui.
oui,
Okay. Rick, so he's on board with having it shown to Mr. Keshe. He would request that it be, perhaps for now that you could show a little bit of what he's presented in these two classes where we've done the translation. The hard part for him is the language, and he would like to, at least at the beginning, have something shown, and then if it's possible to have it shown in the Knowledge Seekers workshop, that either myself, if I'm available, or another French English speaking person would be able to assist in the translation, and that would be great.
Okay. Does he plan on being in tomorrow's workshop?
Joel, est-ce que vous avez
oui.
compris?
Il voudrait que je le présente demain, c'est ça?
Il demande si vous êtes présent demain.
Oui, je serai là demain, oui.
Okay. Yeah, he will be there tomorrow.
Nicolas, tu seras là, toi?
Si c'est possible de faire cela, oui,
Ok.
je serai là. Mais pour moi, ça change un peu les jours de travail, mais ça va.
Ah,
Puis à
autrement,
Vancouver, au West Coast, c'est
ouais.
le même que Rick.
Ok, autrement, on peut différer ou Rick peut le présenter. Moi, ça m'est égal, hein.
Ah, ok. Ok, je
Mais
l'ai.
si ça te pose problème, toi, moi, je veux pas que ça te pose de problème.
Non, pas de problème, mais je veux seulement dire que si c'est dans le troisième heure de Monsieur Keshe,
Ah
moi,
oui.
je suis pas là. Mais si c'est
Hmm.
dans les premiers 1 heure et 2 heures, ok, ça va. Mais si c'est
Ouais,
à
mais
4 heures le
je sais.
matin,
Ouais.
If we had it earlier in the show, could that work for you?
that's exactly what I was just describing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
know a
I was
little
just
bit
letting him know that essentially at 4 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the morning Pacific time, I will not be able to do that, but earlier would be better. And if it's not me, then he was asking whether or not you would be able to present using his presentation material, if you felt qualified to do so, Rick.
Yeah, I could give the basics at least.
And he will be
It's kind
present
of hard
in
to
class
pick out
tomorrow.
because it's a couple of hours of stuff here. So
No, for sure. But perhaps he could send you the PowerPoint presentation that he's created here, and you could present it in English, and then he could be in the classroom to back up any questions, and then perhaps I could be there as a translator or somebody else.
sure, that could work. Yeah.
Okay. So perhaps you could ask him, or I can ask him to send you the files for that.
Sure, that would be a good idea. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Euh,
Joel,
oui.
j'ai demandé à Rick si c'est possible que vous envoyez ce PowerPoint à lui pour que
Oui.
Rick puisse le montrer à Monsieur Keshe et puis
Oui.
il pourrait, si c'est possible, demain dans la classe, montrer ce que vous avez montré ici, mais en anglais. Et vous pouvez être dans la classe aussi, ça serait
Oui.
mieux. Il y a des
J'y
questions.
serai.
Et moi ou quelqu'un d'autre pourrait, dans ce cas, traduire de français à anglais, si c'est possible.
D'accord. Ce que je vais faire, je vais compiler les deux présentations. Je vais les merger.
OK.
Et comme ça en fera qu'une.
OK. Oui, je suis d'accord.
Et où est-ce qu'il faut que je l'adresse? Est-ce que il a un mail, Rick? Est-ce que
Ok,
tu as un mail?
je lui demande de peut-être le envoyer à vous dans le mail privat
Oui, oui,
du chat ici.
oui.
Okay, Rick, just to translate quickly, Joel is on board with the presentation, which would be done on your end in English, kind of as a amalgamation, so to speak. And he's going to combine the two presentations that he made into one file, just have everything in one coherent place.
Perfect.
And then he asked if you could send him in a private chat or however it works the best email for that file to be sent through.
Okay, thank you. I'll do that now.
Okay. Merci à tous.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you, Nikolai. Thank you.
No, you're welcome, everybody. Thank you.
Yes, thank you both for your participation here. It's fantastic, fantastic to see. It's great fun, I think. This is the pulse, or at least one form of it. We'll see what Mr. Keshe says. He may or may not want to show it, and don't get our hopes up yet. But I'll present it to him, and we'll see what happens. So I'll let you know.
Okay, very good. I will most likely be in the class tomorrow regardless, as will Joel. So I just probably won't be up until the very end of it. I usually catch the review class in the morning.
Yeah, I'll try to make it earlier if we are allowed to do it. So
okay, sounds good. And if not, then I'm sure there's those French-speaking people that will be in the class later as well. So I think more so for you have a pretty good understanding, Rick, as to what's happening by now. I think that I may not necessarily be required, but I'm also happy to assist.
Right on. Yep. All right, perfect. I sent my email to Joel in the chat, private chat there in the Zoom chat, so you should be able to see that now.
Yes, it's okay. Thank you, Rick.
Okay, perfect, Joel. Thank you. All right, really cool. Okay, what else do we have here? Any questions, comments, or otherwise?
Yes, I wanted to bring in that we may also use DC current. And if you have a current flowing through the Magrav, you have measurements, but it would be interesting if you have a Magrav built the standard way and connected to the grid. And then you build a second Magrav not connected to the grid, but in the reach of the field of the connected one, and then measure on the not connected Magrav.
It's one of my projects.
You covered all the angles. Thank you.
Yes.
Any other suggestions that we can see if Joel's covered yet or not? That's funny. You see some comments from a Jedi here. I don't know if Jedi saw the first part of the show with the pulses and so on, but he mentions he's got several comments there that people can read about interacting with pulses, and he gives his website with the resonant fields, and he has some interesting interesting things to offer in that website. Is there anything you want to say personally, Jedi, about any of that? Or does anybody else have anything they want to say at this point? Okay, your microphone's still open there, Joel. I don't know if you want it to be open. There we go. Thank you. I hear you typing away. You're probably working on your project as we speak. Okay, well, we had a lot presented there.
Everybody.
Hello.
Hello,
Hi,
Rick.
Jedi. Hi.
Hello. That's Jedi. Yes. So there is a page, a web page that I placed the link there, and you can see pulses. They are there. So there are diagrams or something like probably 40. And as Mario said, the signature is harmonical. So most of it is present. Pulsations are there all the time. Sometimes we are able to measure them. They are very tiny. Sometimes they are strong, and they vary, interacting with our emotions. So there are
you're breaking
levels.
up. You're breaking up there, Jedi. Some interesting sounds.
The frequency, color wave, is acting within. I'm sorry.
Maybe you can get into a little better area for
so
bandwidth,
that,
so we can hear you.
There is no way. Okay, I'll try later.
Might just have to move a little bit. It was we're getting sort of what you're saying, but it's pretty garbled.
Unfortunately, the line is not really working very well today. So it's it has to do with the interaction of various fields. If we study the electric flux, we have a pulsation, but we can read even radio frequency, and we get out tiny pops of going boom, 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 0. And then it's going back again to go up the frequency. And so use spinning rotors with ganses inside. And so when I
Oh, we totally lost you at that point when you said when I.
He dropped out.
Oh, thank you. Yep. Okay, well, he might come back in. I'm not sure there. In the meantime, anyone else have something they'd like to bring up? Another comment, question, or otherwise?
Well, if you have time, Rick, there's a couple of things that I could show.
Sure. Do you need a whiteboard or what?
Yeah, let me get a whiteboard. And if I get it on my end, then we don't get the. Let's see. Wait a minute. Share. Okay. All right. There's a few things here. Okay. Whenever you have any interaction where layers of fields are connecting, you always get that third entity, and it's equal to the difference of the two. So if I, okay, so you have a plasma field, it's making layers. So you have a layer here, and so on. All right, and then you have another one here. So wherever a layer is in common, that say this third layer out is in tune with, say, the second layer out from this one, you will get an interaction. Oh, and what you'll get is, did I do this? This free plasma in the center, which will create a layer that's in tune with these two layers because they're unisons. So this one will have a layer there. Any layers that are similar will link in the same way. So this one connects to, say, this one and whatever. And each time it builds another layer here as you're going out, right? So you get any layers that are in this one that are not in common with layers in this one will not be present in this field that's spiraling out. Only the layers that are connected. So that's going to give that entity at the center an energy signature where its ratios are still going to be, say, 128 to 127 to 126 to 125 to 124 and so on, except say 128 is missing or 123 is missing because there's no connection there. So you will have those space gaps where along the field strengths as they go up, because there's an interaction, say here, you get a layer there. You might have, instead of the second layer, third layer, fourth layer, the fifth layer is there. And then so on. And there'll be so many layers interacting. And this is what you see on the spectral analysis. And everything has that. Even what we call the elements have that. The nitrogen is due to this field from the sun interacting with the field from the earth, creating a nitrogen. So it's not only got its pulse rate at the outer layer of 14 to 1 relative to hydrogen, but it's got its own missing layers, if you will, the missing harmonics. This is what's called timbre in music. This is what makes a trumpet sound like a trumpet playing a note C as opposed to a piano playing a note C. It's what we see as a shade of red. When our eyes interact with something, we have antenna arrays, right? So you have all these antennas that are tuned with these ratios based on our tuning, which is the iodine, which is 128. And then you have, so you have this 1, 2 to 1, 3 to 1, so on. When you interact with something in the environment, if this is interacting, say, with this field down here, you create a feedback loop. We see red. If you see something else here where this field is interacting here, we might see a blue right next to it. But this one also has other layers inside it. So this red might have something inside it linking to a blue, but it's a weaker interaction. And so it's mostly red, but it's a certain shade of red based on its energy signature. So we see these instantaneously because of the interactions here. So everything is based on the interactions of the difference of these, or where the layers are in common, right? Now, if I take a spiral and I make my really bad spiral, I'm gonna erase that. All drawings. When you have the spiral that Mr. Keshe shows all the time, and he says, here's hydrogen, you know, this would be helium, this is whatever. Gold is over here or whatever. If you take that and stretch it out or in a straight line, if you will, or you draw the drawing of the layers, you get the spectral analysis from, say, 1 to 128, right? But if you look at the space gap of this spiral, it's a corkscrew kind of a thing, or it tightens up as it goes in. So the actual space gap between, say, here and here is a 2 to 1 ratio. This is 1. This is a 2-to-1 ratio. The same space gap here is a 4-to-1 ratio. So there's an extra layer in between here that's not directly in between. It's 2/3 of the way up. But the same space gap, if I have one here, so if I call this field strength A, this is a 2-to-1. It's also an A. It's a replica of it. And this is another A. And the same space gap would be, so you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'll just put it like this. Here's 128 here, layer 128. And so I'll get rid of all this. Okay, so you're measuring, you have 8 octave replicas between layer 1 and layer 128. In the next octave of octaves, because when you get to the 8th day of the week, it's the first day of the week. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is the 8th octave, but it's also the first of the next octave. So now this space gap right here is the same as saying the same space gap, but it's 2-to-1, 4-to-1, 8-to-1, 16-to-1, 32-to-1, 64-to-1, 128-to-1, which means by the time you get to this 8th octave, it's 65,000 layers. And then when you get the next one, it's 2 million layers, and the next one, and so on, until you get to, when you get an octave of octaves to the 8th octave, you have like 4 trillion layers, almost all of them in the last one. So when we're looking at things like the atomic elements and such, this is hydrogen, this is deuterium, this is tritium, the 3-to-1, and so on. It's because our senses are tuned to that array. But we are not at the bottom octave of the existence of the universe. We are somewhere in the middle, Mr. Keshe said, not the lowest end field strength and not the highest. So whatever octave we're in, this one has got to be layer at least 4 trillion to 128 times 4 trillion. So this is a full spectrum of layers here. So why is it that we don't see all of these colors? Why do we only see these 7 colors of the rainbow with their shades? And the answer is because when our eye interacts with something at the red, we create a feedback loop, which increases the amplitude. So you get a spike here. It's our interaction with it that's causing the spike. Doesn't mean that there's not other layers here, but we don't have it in our eye. So we can interact with deuterium because that layer is there. It's our interaction with it that causes the spike in the amplitude of it, right? So you detune this to change it to a different key, your eyes see completely different sky, different sun, different moon or moons, different stars, because it's not that they're not there, it's just that we don't have, our antennas are not in tune with it. It depends, it's like zooming in with a magnifying glass, right? If you zoom in, you see, wow, it's not two layers, it's 4 trillion layers, or 8 trillion layers is 2 to 1, see? But we don't live in that level of existence, we live in this one. So, okay, I think I made that point, right? Now, it's the difference of the fields that that dictate what the third element is, what this is. This is the one that's causing the increase in amplitude. This is the one we're interacting with. So if I clear this. Okay, if I take a tone generator and I put it on a note and I have it just going for on the same note at the same time for a given length of time. And then I take a second tone generator and I start at a unison. So if I call this the note A, whatever its tuning is, and I take another A, but then I slide it up slowly over a period of time till it's now a 2-to-1 ratio. Whatever it is, if I call this 60, that would be probably a 60 hertz or 60 beats a minute would be a C actually. This one stays, I'll call it a C. And then I start with a C, and this one's gonna go to a C at 120. So this one's still 60, and this one's 120. So now you have the octave. Here's what happens. When these two are in unison, they're not exactly 60 hertz or something. There's a slight differential, but the differential is within the comma that at our level of existence. So to us, they're the same note. If you zoom in, you'll say, oh, wait a minute, these are octaves apart and they're not even in tune with each other at that level of existence. But on our level, there's a differential that's within the comma, but it's so low down here that we don't, our senses, normal senses don't hear it. But on our emotional level, we definitely notice this guy. It's the difference. It's this one creating this feedback loop, but the difference here is way down here. So you have something like this happening, right? But, so as I take this, let me, okay. The difference between these, as this starts to slide up, this rises on a really steep curve and then continues up. Oops, it should be where it ends in a unison there, because 60 from 120 is 60. So this one, as this slides up, is going to be in tune with this one at the octave. It's going to create another C here at 60, right? So you have always 3 notes. But here's what happens. As this slides up on a steep curve, as this is going up, at some point, this note will lock in with an octave below this note, or a couple of octaves below this note. So it's the confirmation of this one. This one is still a C, but this one is a new note because it's now confirmed with this one. So you have now 2 of these and 1 of these. So we give it the next letter of the alphabet. There's a D. As it keeps sliding up, it seems strange, but the way the curve works is as you're going up, this note will lock in tune with the lower note again. Now, the third note here is not doubled. This one is doubling this one. So here, this is a D, but here, this is a C again. So it's flipping back to this fundamental here. So this note now, it's not an octave of C, it's its own note. So we give it the next letter of the alphabet. This goes back tens of thousands of years. This is the original teachings of the 7 musical tones. Why? And it's this flipping back and forth of the polarity of where it's linking to. As you go along, you'll get a linking here and here where it's the upper note again. So we give it the next note of the letter of the alphabet, so now it's an F. See what's happening here, right? Now, as it goes up, you get a G. This one is a C. It keeps flipping back to the fundamental. All right, so now that's an E. And then you go up again, you get to the F. And that gives me an F here. Oh, sorry, a G. Oh, what did I do here? C, D, E, F, that's a G. And that's an A, sorry. Can't spell the alphabet. So you're starting on A. Okay, so you have a C, now you have an A here. This is an A. And then when you go to the G, you have another C here. And what am I doing? B. Jeez, I'm so used to starting on A. That's the right way to do it.
Mario, if you're having trouble with this, imagine how someone like I, who am not a musician, are going to have trouble with it.
Okay,
So we're going to be losing people here rapidly. Krasmer got lost. He's now he's connected now. He figures out it's connected to sound finally, so he's kind of less lost now. But I'm getting lost myself. So what are you leading to with all this? I totally lost the point of what you're doing at this point.
Okay, let me explain it. You have the 7 letters of the alphabet here, where the notes, the third note is locking in tune with either the higher note or the lower note as this note goes up. Okay, so in between these, you have this flipping back and forth. As you're going from the A, you go up and it locks in tune with the higher note.
Definition of fractal or proportion. Say something for you, Mario.
Sorry,
It's basic mathematics from gymnasium, from first school.
Yeah,
Proportion.
this is
Proportion. No, listen to me, because I listen to you and I lose my patience for I don't know what reason. It's proportion, okay? It's fractal. This is it. Point. Sorry.
what. Okay, I'm not sure. I didn't understand you very well, so I think you were asking me to make a point here. Here's the point: is that whenever you have 2 entities, 2 plasmas interacting, it's the third note, the third plasma. It's what Armin was saying. When you mix the GANs materials or whatever, you get a single plasma. It's got its own energy signature, and it's also something you can measure off the top of your head. Because when if you can convert those numbers of the ratios of the elements to these, then you know what you're going to get when you mix any 2 elements, any 2 GANs materials off the top of your head. See, this is what I was trying to do with the periodic table, to get rid of the ratios, to get rid of the frequencies, to get rid of those atomic numbers, and replace them with this, because this is how you can do it off the top of your head. And this is how you navigate in deep space, by feel, because we can feel when the flipping happens. And this is what the plants are doing. If the pressure from the sun, see at this point here, and the way this works, as this C starts to slide up, this C will stay in tune with the comma, it'll go out of tune, and then it locks in tune with this one. And so the difference is this in the lower octave. See, so when you're looking at iron and minus what will give you nitrogen. See, this is the right way to do it. Iron is a G, and this is what the plants are doing. They're flipping the polarity. Okay, this is it's not a small thing, and it's based on
Mario. This is MOSFET. Can you? I mean, what you're saying is very interesting, and I understand. I understand musical scale. I understand the mathematics. But if you go slowly and start with a simple picture, I think it will be much more understandable. I don't know whether others can follow it. I know both maths and musical scale. I'm having difficulty following it. So if you start at a very simple diagram, start very simply, and as you get confused in the middle, we get confused even more. I think it's very interesting what you're saying and about the periodic table and the periodicity in the musical scale. But start with something very slow, go at a very slow space, and don't add too many, just basic, stay very basic, and then add a little more, then we will be able to follow it. It is very interesting, and I really enjoying it in a way. At the same time, a bit frustrated because it's getting confused very easily.
Yeah, people are wanting me to stop you here, Mario, because it's getting confusing, and it just ends up being nonsense to people because they can't understand what you're talking about, and it ends up being a bunch of squiggles on the screen. And sometimes this takes an hour or 2 for you to explain these things, and we don't have the time for that here. We can't do that. So we have to make it succinct, I guess, is the point here.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Also,
one more suggestion, perhaps, do a little bit today, do a little more tomorrow, because we have to kind of digest. Some of us are not as well many of these
I know
things.
it's strange. It's strange for people to think this way. I know that's the case, and I forget, it's just that it's really simple. It's just that people are not used to thinking of this way. When you mix ganses, you're just looking at these numbers and adding the numbers, but you're not realizing that you're actually creating a third life form. And it's this guy down here that's determining the field strength and the direction of the flow of the differential between this one and this one. See, as these change.
Please start with a new picture, because
don't have a clue what you're talking about, Mario.
Can't follow it
really
at all.
Don't have a clue what you're talking about at all, Mario. Yep. So,
Mario,
also,
this is Nikolai speaking. I wanted to just bring this, and I do appreciate what you're doing. But in comparison to the presentation that we watched earlier, where Joel spent a considerable amount of time putting a presentation together into a PowerPoint that was legible, understandable, granted in another language. He actually wrote it in English. It had pictures on it. I would love to hear what you're talking about in that kind of a format, because I'm not a musician. I can't grasp this at all. I had to take my earbuds out and I folded laundry. I had to tune out.
We've done this before, Mario, several times, and we're not going to do it again for another hour with this kind of presentation. So you need to, you've done this many times and you've kind of got it down, but you have to go step by step, like they're saying, with clear pictures, not a bunch of what ends up as a bunch of scribbles the last few times you've been doing this. So I would suggest putting together some sort of PDF or some sort of presentation with some clear things, just like what was presented here, so that you can go through step by step and then explain and then listen to people. Does everyone understand? Does anyone not understand? And then someone's going to put their hand up, like Krasmir did earlier, said, I'm sorry, I really don't understand. Where is this going? And that was, 20 minutes ago or something. And then he sort of got what's going on, and others are losing it. And so we have to keep the audience here. Otherwise, there's no sense in carrying on like this.
The other aspect is that we can go back, if you have a diagram, and we can go back 3 pages prior and go, oh, look at that picture I drew. And then it's not like this line and that line and everything's in green and A, B, C, and D, and then there's a wrong letter in there. And then if I'm listening to what you're saying and looking on the screen, I'm done. I need like 2 mistakes or not 2 mistakes, but 2 misunderstandings in my concept, and my whole train of thought is out the window. So I would love to see this in a more succinct presentation, and I think it would be great.
Sure. Actually, I have already diagrams, but I don't think the problem is the diagrams. I think the problem is, see, what I'm talking about is from Mr. Keshe's teaching from the 56th and 60th Knowledge Seekers Workshops. It's navigation. I'm trying to show how to navigate in the universe. It's navigation. I have access to a tool the man from space uses for navigation. I find it's hard to understand why. Well, anyway.
Is this how you navigate in space when you're walking or when you're traveling in your mind or whatever, is with letters and a graph and all the different harmonics are being calculated every second and all the different angles, and there's 128 layers. How do you know which layer you're in? And all this is going on in your mind all the time?
Well, no.
Then what is the purpose of this then?
Well,
what is the purpose other than you getting your understanding out there? How does it help people navigate in their life or in space, the space that they're in, or in space when eventually we get there, or in our dreams? Or how is it practical? And how is it applied?
Okay. You navigate by octaves and fifths. by the two to one
I
ratio?
do. I do.
Everybody does.
Everyone navigates by octaves and fifths. Okay, now you have to stop right there, and you got to really explain that out, because I am totally lost, way right there, totally gone. Don't
Because-
understand a word of that sentence, really.
I know.
So
because-
why would you start out with that and
Well-
then go from there to the next one, the next one, the next one? Because you'll totally lose everyone from the very first sentence. You'll have to explain, you have to back up from there and explain about what a fifth is, and we'll have to look it up in Wikipedia. We'll have to go through the whole thing of all the way the notes work and so on and so forth once again. And it won't work with scribbles because people don't understand
I know.
you know, about the scales necessarily, and about
it's
the
not-
octaves and all of that.
Well, can I answer that? Okay. Yes, all of our navigation is by the 2 to 1 and 3 to 1 ratio. You tune to field strengths, but you have to keep a common denominator.
How you calculate plasma fields when you
What?
come up 1, 2, 3? How you calculate? How you gonna calculate the strength?
Of what?
When you say 1, 2, 3, everything moves 1, 2, 3. I just want to know how you calculate that.
No, not 1, 2, 3 ratios of 2 to 1 and 3 to 1.
Why
That's
1, 2, 3? How about 101?
well, because you need to get to a common denominator of 101.
But
Okay,
you
have carbon. You have carbon.
1 to 100.
No, look.
What do you
it's-
mean now?
Okay, let me see. I explain it like this. If I have
Example concrete. CH3. You have carbon and hydrogen or tritium. Explain that.
I have what and what?
CO2, no CO2, CH3.
Yeah. What about it? It's
1 gram of gas and 10 of water. Explain that.
explain CO.
I don't think you're being helpful,
I
Dan.
didn't hear you. Yeah. But look,
Let
CH3.
Armin and Mario work this out here first, Dan, and then introduce your idea then, if you wish.
Okay, CH3 is carbon and hydrogen. But what you have is hydrogen is the fundamental.
But who said carbon and hydrogen? I can see it differently. I can see it carbon, I can see it hydrogen, I can see it zinc, and I can see it copper.
Well, yes, of course, because it's got those layers in it.
What do you mean? But how you say it's not only carbon and hydrogen, but what about the metals that we put over there? Do you think in a gas we don't have that?
No, I didn't say that.
I'm sorry, I have to leave 5 minutes, I'll be back.
No, somebody asked me about CH3. It's hydrogen, if it's an A, field strength A1. Carbon is E1. It's the 3 to 1 ratio. Think about it. 1, take times 3, and then take it up 3 octaves. 3, 6, 12. That's carbon. It's a perfect fifth. It's creating a second hydrogen is what's happening, because you have the differential, what I showed, and those notes. The third note is another hydrogen. And the difference between that hydrogen and the carbon adds another layer of hydrogen. So what they call 3 hydrogen atoms is actually 3 layers of 1, 1, 1, and 12 is what you have based on the interaction of those. So you have your carbon over here. Oh, wait a minute. So you have your carbon, and you have your hydrogen, and then where these are linking the layers is creating a layer there, and then this layer is connecting to that layer, and so you're getting another layer there, and so on, and you're building up
And here we are with the squiggles from Mario once again with all the layers, and we can't tell what the heck anything interacted. It's just a bunch of squiggles from here on in, Mario. And you're going to lose people once again because we see a bunch of squiggles and there's something about layers, and where are we going to go with that now? You're going to make some more squiggles and layers and more squiggles and layers all in the same color. and we can't
Seriously.
tell anything what's anything here.
You don't understand that you have two different plasmas and each one's got multiple
Nope,
layers.
I don't see two plasmas at all now. I see one big squig, a bunch of squiggles. I don't understand. Yeah, that's what you're trying to get to. I thought that it's not two plasmas. They interact and form one plasma.
Right.
One
That's what we call a
interaction.
CH3.
Except
Right.
it's all a bunch of green squiggles, and now you're talking about two, and now I'm confused. How do you go back to two from one? Because there wasn't two, it's all one. And then
All
it
right,
gets
here's-
confusing. You're talking about one, you're talking about two, you're talking about three, you're talking about octaves, you're talking about 3 to 6 to 12, and they're all the same as hydrogen. And all of a sudden, I'm totally confused. I don't know what you're talking about. And that's what happens here. So you can try it again with the squiggles.
All right.
Interaction between them.
If this layer here, it has something in common, say, with this layer.
Okay, now as soon as you do that, we've totally lost it for posterity because you use the same color and you say this layer and that layer, and we've lost it. From that moment, Mary, we got to differentiate. You got to take some compassion for your audience here. And that's what's not happening. You keep repeating the same thing over and over and over, but you keep forcing it in the same pictures and the same squiggles. You need to make it more clear so that we can understand. Okay, well, that's more clear. We can see there's an interaction there. Okay, now I can calm down a bit. I can understand that, I think. Okay, let's go to the next one.
Interacts, say, with this one because they're the same field strength. Now, where these crossing is going to create one layer based on this, because the red is connecting to the red. And this one's going to connect and add a layer to the blue. It might be on the outside of it, or it depends on where they structure. And there'll be a building up of the layers of a single molecule based on the layers of the interactions of the fields here. Not all of the fields, the layers within the structure of the carbon will link to the hydrogen. There's some gaps. So this molecule will not have every layer in the spectrum. It's missing some. It's got its own energy signature. But ultimately, the hydrogen is the differential between all of these. So if hydrogen is yellow, then, as the hydrogen molecule, element here is going to end up being the differential in the outermost layer, which is going to be the hydrogen. So you have a 1, and there'll be those layers, 1 to 2 to 1 or whatever, based on what's interacting in between. That's all. So it's this one that's dictating the position of this, creating this. It's where these fields are all feeding into the central core. So you have a soul of the CH3 molecule. And this has a soul, this has a soul, and they're interacting here and creating a one entity here. And when it interacts with an oxygen, you'll have the same thing, creating another plasma, make a pink one here. And where this layer interacts with something over here, and this one interacts with something over here, then these will connect and you'll get those layers within the structure here, and you get your amino acid.
Okay.
That's all it is. So if I take if I take 12 to 1, 14 nitrogen, 16 oxygen, and I subtract each one of those from each one of those to get the difference of that, I'll get deuterium. And once I have the deuterium, I actually have 2 to 1 ratio. The differential of that is 1. So hydrogen. Hydrogen is created based on the difference of the fields of the oxygen, basically oxygen, the carbon, and the nitrogen. So it's the outermost layer, which is the difference. It's exactly what I just showed with this. You have a line here. I have this one interacting with this layer. That's 12, 14, and 16. And the difference from those is hydrogen. And that's what you have. You have this. And that's going to link to a central core hydrogen that's here. call it layer 128, because that would be 8 octaves up. And if that's the soul of the man, that's iodine, that's 128. Zinc, 64. Oxygen is the fundamental of the amino acid at the matter level, at the where it's interacting with the environment, is 4 octaves below or 2 octaves below zinc, 16. And in the 5th octave below that is hydrogen, 1. If that's field strength A, oxygen is A, zinc is A, iodine is A. See, this is a completely different way of looking at elements. These are octaves, and that's how you tune. You tune to the octaves. That's how you tune to field strengths. That's how you navigate the universe, tuning the field strengths. We don't think about it, but you're retuning. If you lift your arm up, you're retuning the positioning of the tuning of your arm so that it's repositioning itself within the environment. That's really what's going on. So when you're walking, you're actually doing this all the time. And Mr. Keshe drew this. I mean, he drew, here's the soul of the man. Here's the brain, the right hemisphere or left hemisphere, right? Here's the fingertip. And he does one of these. Highly filtered. Okay, here's the elbow. Right, here's the leg over here, you know. It's a flower of life. You have this side, here's your left arm and your right arm, and here's your shoulder there, and here's your other leg over here. This is what we're doing.
Yep, and we're doing the same thing again, Mario. We have a bunch of scribbles, and no one will be able to look at this and tell what the heck's going on again without listening to the whole thing in order to tell what you're saying. Otherwise, if you miss one little scribble, you missed what's going on here and so on. Yeah, but I agree that there's things with the octave. I mean, that's how they made the original table of elements. It was all based on octaves. They thought it was all in perfect octaves, but it wasn't, because things aren't all exactly in the perfect octave the way they're supposed to be in theory. But anyway, we can't keep going on here at over 3.5 hours, and we're interrupting into Gatwa's agricultural class and so on. Now people are wanting to leave to go to that, and I don't like to keep people away from his class and whatnot. And I have to get up and work in the morning here, so we have to end things right sharply here, actually. So sorry about that, but we need to wrap it up here. It's gone on too long for me.
Yeah, okay. And
but thanks, Mario. I appreciate that. But it'd be great to see some, you know, of your drawings like done out. I know you're artistic and can make some. You probably already have them made in a PDF or something, and then you could unveil it sort of layer by layer that way, literally in the program in a way, and keep our focus and keep our concentration on it so that we can understand what you're saying more readily. And different colors really helps a lot. It actually made a big difference in your scribbles, as I call them here, with just the red and the blue. I just suddenly went, oh, that's a lot more clear. Now I can see step 1, step 2, step 3. Okay, now I can breathe a little bit and not get overwhelmed. Otherwise, we're overwhelming people, including myself, and several people have commented here that they're just overwhelmed, they can't handle it. So we have to find a different way that's a little more gentle in their presentation, or I don't know, something that I keep telling you, Mario, you need to just play some music and show what you're talking about that way. Take us on a journey with music. Take us on a spaceship journey through octaves.
Yeah, I was going to do that today, but then we got carried away with something else. But, you know, it's not difficult to understand. Problem is, if you're coming from such a different perspective, that when I'm showing this, you don't have anything to relate it to. So you can't correlate it, right?
Yeah. Make a PowerPoint. Make a PowerPoint like everyone else has. We'll get there with you. Put a sound clip in the middle of it. please, I would love to hear this and understand it in a better way. I stopped music when I was young. I wish I had continued, but
Yeah, it's not
it's one
music.
of those things that I can't comprehend this when everything is called this, and then everything is called that, and then everything becomes A's, and then there's an E and an F, and then the F goes in the other. I'm like, I'm done, man. I want to
Yeah,
learn
same
some of
with
these things,
me.
but if
Same with
it's
me.
in a PowerPoint, and then there's a little bit of audio or music that is in the middle of that, and we can go, hey, go back 2 slides and explain one section of it, everything would become so much easier, and we don't have to have this tangent that appears out of thin air that then becomes the new focus, and then we're all the way across the universe on a new magnetic ray. So I mean, beg my interference here, so to speak, but I would really appreciate that, and I think it would be an awesome presentation.
Yeah, okay, thanks. You know, I just want to say, I think I'll show some better drawings, better pictures and stuff, but 90% of this is just because we've been thinking in a different way, that it's just foreign. It's just foreign. I've seen this a lot.
Oh, yeah, why do you think Mr. Keshe has gone through 280 knowledge seekers workshop teaching the exact same thing every single week?
Pretty
in a way,
much.
and in a different way every single week too, to try to get us to understand. And he's gone through literally thousands of hours of teachings. You've gone through hundreds, if not thousands, of hours of teachings yourself, Mario. I know you've done a lot. And so but still, it's not like it's suddenly going to go through and everybody's going to get it, and we suddenly all understand. But certain people will get certain things along the way, and as they need, and others might get bored and leave and come back or understand later or something. There's all these different factors going on in different levels and so on. Like all of those octaves are happening simultaneously, basically, in a show like this. There's full range of stuff going on, and it's to be expected that everyone's not going to be on the same page, so to speak. But I think that we can work with this and find a way. I keep teasing you about the music thing, but maybe that's a way to illustrate, I guess, the concepts, because you keep trying to draw them, but perhaps it's something that needs to be felt. Perhaps maybe we need to feel the vibrations rather than look at them on paper.
That's exactly it. Next time I'll show it in a way. I tried playing it. I noticed people, you need a little bit of experience.
Don't show us, make us feel.
I'll show you that. I can show you that. I thought I was going to do it today, but just got caught up, and the other presentations were fantastic. So, but yeah, but again, I've just asked people to not just dismiss this because you don't see it and you don't see its relevance. And I want to say this also. This is research of Mr. Keshe's teaching, and in particular, a presentation that Mr. Keshe called a tool the man from space uses for navigation. And even though I've mentioned that every single time practically, that 56 and then the 60th Knowledge Seekers workshops are about a tool the man from space uses for navigation, and no one is interested. I find that a very strange thing. If you want to understand this, go back and look at what Mr. Keshe taught.
Well, it's not that we're not interested. It's that we are not liking the way it's being presented. That's all, Mario. So make us feel rather than trying to make us understand your drawings. Because if you have an understanding you're trying to impart, not all understandings are imparted by drawings. It's, sometimes like Mr. Keshe, just the tone of his voice is enough to impart the teaching in a way, and the words are sort of accessory to what he does. And he does do a lot of drawings and scratches, I must admit, that way, but we have to find a way that's just a little more clear for people, that's all. So I think the feeling method is I think that's desirable. I think we all need a shock that way, in a way, to get off the whiteboard and into the soundboard.
Yeah, and I really appreciate you and everybody, and especially Armin. I don't mean to be contradictory or whatever. I'm just trying to help to people to just open your mind a little bit to a different way of understanding. It's energy based, everything I'm talking about, and we're not used to that. We're used to gas materials and this and that, and not used to thinking in terms of the energy fields, which is really the plasma, and it's really that. So anyway, but I
Right.
just, yeah, try to not discount it out of hand,
As the magician says, how's it go? I don't ask you to believe that in magic. I just ask you to temporarily suspend the mood of disbelief.
That would be very, I'm going to remember that. Yeah, I'll record that.
Just to be able to get people to do that is an accomplishment in itself, because most of us have a bit of a cynical or sarcastic kind of edge that when we hear others perhaps. But anyway, that's something to ponder. Thank you, Mario.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Okay, we do need to wrap things up, but is there any last comments or screams that anybody would like to put in at this point? Or loud snoring,
Rick,
that'd be fine. Oh, hi, Jedi, you're back. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so amazing, because we show the limitation in understanding because of our shape, and that is plasmatic.
Did you say fate or gate?
Shape, the shape of our mind, the shape, the form mind, our thoughts are shaped in a way, in some way, a particular way. That is consistent with our rationality. It's current with our way of thinking, of seeing things, our senses. All this is blocked. Understanding is not reachable whenever our note, which is our frequency, is blocking the images, the fields from coming in. So that's the difficulty we find. Although married with numbers and ratios, we still cannot see it because this shape is not entering in our field. It is a consequence of our vibration. So it is resonant. If we don't resonate with the explanation, we're out of it. We cannot access. So that is the difficulty in all this, in fact, is not calculating, is not just scribbles and just writing down. It is to resonate together in such a way unity is created, so you can move on to another that understanding, and you agree on a position which is the same position for everyone that reaches that level of understanding. So you don't need violence for it. It is ahimsa, and that is a concept. And Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi, used it. That is a field, an energy field. Everyone understands this kind of field. But since you don't belong, you don't vibrate within that kind of field, its resonance, it's too far away, it's too distant. Once you reach it, there is no violence anymore. There is no war. So it's very, the difficulty is to not to understand, but to reach that level of resonance. So it's the pure vibration of the soul, of the heart, that is reaching. It's not consequential or based on numbers. It's not a technique. It has to do with matching, with unison. So in some way, Marius is saying that it is musical. In fact, it is harmonical. So you just need to tune in and you go. And you are right there. But you need to reach that kind of frequency or level or vibration. And that is placing, for example, ahimsa or other concepts or other ideas. And ideas, they belong to the shape of things. They give a shape, they give a form to reality, ideas. So that vibration is a quantic cymatic vibration that is going to appear here and there. So the same idea shall be in one man in the United States and another one in China. The same moment, same day, the concept, the vibration is there. The same sound. So they reach that understanding. It's forming and conforming things. It's a resonant field. It's like saying God's standing wave. It's there. Everything is there. But manifestation.
What we're talking about, it's in a matter state.
In a matter state, when you look at it from this point of view, which is a matter state vision, it is not in a matter state when you are in a higher level.
Plasma. Matter that you're holding, it's a plasma state. That it slow down enough, materialize as a string that
yes.
you hold as a matter in your hand.
It's a coagula or solve. That is alchemy. So you can go either to, or you can free it, and then you
when
energy.
You free it, that means you're opening it up. When you
exactly,
that means you are giving a gap between molecular and atomic structure.
Yes.
You're increasing, you're opening it up, that they can interact because they themselves came from the plasma.
Yes, and what I am saying is, take a look at the pictures of the rotors. Look at them. They lose coherence. So this is exactly what we are talking about. And matter state is not there anymore as you believe in it. It is like this. You are a person, you are within this configuration. It is not anymore there because it's starting to lose coherence. The loss of coherence is going towards pure energy flowing. And so you haven't got a rotor anymore. You have a potato spinning. That is a matter fact, a matter state.
If you have a rotor, you have a magnet. Correct? This is your rotor.
Yes.
Meaning it's a generator. generator, you have a magnetic field inside. You are rotating this magnetic field, and all you can vibrate the electrons of the copper atomic structure. And in the end, from the magnetic field that you rotated, you collect as an energy. Correct?
Yes.
But here...
And all pulsations that we saw.
Huh? What is it? I'm sorry. I couldn't hear.
Pulsations,
Yeah, pulsations.
signatures.
Because plus, minus, you know, when you rotate, so you create that pulsation, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Now in plasma, you have to have a higher and you have to have a lower and you have to have a flow because higher gives lower, lower gives higher. So you have two-way traffic. So then you create the same.
Yes.
If you have equal, the line is going to be straight. Equal strength. But if you have higher and a lower, then you create the movement. So if
within a rotor, you find that there is a void in the center. There is a concentration of energy in the center. Then you find a ring, an empty ring. Then you find matter, all the guns that is sticking on the outer side. So you have the inversion of the field. And then you have the frequency that is showing scalar, harmonical, fractal, etc. Now, all this within a torsion field
again
is generating. That is matter state.
What you explaining, it's a matter state again. Because if the energy from center
it doesn't end.
It goes 360 degrees in every single point here. If I can more pack drawing, you will understand more. You know why? Because all these gases you concentrated right in the center. The field, that's why you rotate. When in a gas reactor, you just vacuum, the gases, they just layer themselves. But when you rotate,
yes,
that's a totally different ballgame. Then you centralize the field, then you interact with the center. This is, you have to little bit walk away from the matter. That's why when you say CO, zinc, copper, gold, iron, whatever it is, it's a strength. Different strength creates different interaction. Even you layer your gas, you just in one ball, when you rotate your gas, they all stick this side of the wall. But all their fields, each of the one that it's a billions in here, they concentrate the field into the center. Totality of your body, it feeds your soul. Because each they have a center, each they have a soul, but collective they feed the center. When you position the center, that's totally different ballgame. You have to capture it. The field goes everywhere. But how are you going to capture it? As much
I was showing.
much your soul reflects outside, it reflects into.
Well, I published the images. They are there. You can see it by yourself. That is the effect, the change. The resonant field is changing, and the shape of the rotor, the shape.
When you're angry, what is happening with you? Are you taking or are you giving?
You are in within discontinuity. When you are hungry, you are continuity, and you are not able to hold the fields. That is emotional reaction, and you are pumping from the sexes energy that is going upwards and downwards. That is physical, because mind is not under control. So you lose coherence. I show the loss of coherence. See the rodders. They are not rings anymore. They are not circular anymore. That is our shape. And then I'm just exciting and turning and spinning ganses. And this is the reaction within a precise frame rate. They lose coherence.
Guys, please, not because I just pushing this matter, I just want you to just walk away from the matter, because now you have GANs, which is more free of the field. So it's easy, it's the same thing as a gas. It's exactly the same. Each, if you have a zinc, copper, iron, gold, whatever it is, when you rotate each, when you see that hollow center, they each layer themselves accordingly as their strength, as a gas. It's like a balloon. Unless you not squeeze it, you're not going to pop it. This is the only thing I'm talking. This is the only thing I'm educating you to just look at the next step. Forget all the names, whatever you read, whatever you have read. Just totally simply understand each is a package of energy. And you are very fortunate that you can mix it to create more different things, whatever you desire. That's all. Simplify things, not complicate things that you can never understand the essence of it.
Show a picture so that it is present. It is a manifestation.
Manifestation? Just you want to understand how the manifestation is happening? This is the, okay, I'll show you the picture, no problem. This is your sun. This is your earth. This is your atmosphere. When the field, before it entering our atmosphere, has no name. There is no atomic mass that you can say, oh, this is this strength. It's totality. It comes and passes. Whatever you have a match, you have a game. Whatever is not there, this field still goes until end of the solar system and beyond. So now explain me not the field that we have here. Explain me the field that we call as a plasma here. What name or what strength or what tone you're gonna name it? What is the sound of it?
Well, can I?
know.
I'm
It
not
doesn't,
finished
Yes,
yet.
Mario.
it doesn't have a tone
I'm not
until it.
finished yet, Mario.
Okay.
There is no name
Okay.
until it enters here.
Now you
When it enters here, now you call oxygen, now you call carbon, now you call nitrogen, now you call any other element reaches here and it goes to the center. Here we can name it. The bottom line, that name is atomic mass, strength. Here, you name. Here, there is no name.
but you are giving a definition of it, so that is a name.
What
You are calling it third.
I call it
entity,
plasma,
name.
you call it totality.
Call it. Okay. But it is
There is no
not
name.
void.
It's a field.
But since you have two fields, they are generating a pulsation. And so between them, there is the third field. That is what you have with music. Binaural beats are exactly the explanation of a third sound that is formed within our brain, within our mind. And it is not a sound audible in the
If I don't
so you have a
if I don't scream, if you don't hear me, that's mean in my mind still I am talking to you. If you cannot hear that sound, that's mean it's not exist.
No, it does not non-existent. It means that I am not reaching your
maybe tomorrow I don't need to talk. I just need
signal.
to talk in my mind, but you will get it exactly what I said. But there is no sound.
So
what is it?
Two possibilities.
What you call that?
Either you are sending somewhere else the signal, or I am not listening to the signal.
I am not.
Different way.
Of course, that's a field. But I can, direct it through my mouth that you can hear, or I can think and you can already understand what exactly I told you. So where's your sound then?
Yes, so that's why I took pictures and I placed them in the website.
That's why
you can see the picture, and so we don't need to draw it anymore.
Sound is in a matter state that we can talk, we can understand, we can hear. That my voice, my tone, it's gonna affect you. If I scream, you will get scared. If I laugh, you will get a joy.
Sound is not only in the matter state. Sound is in the subtle state.
Sound is when two fields are rubbing each other. If the field is going, where's the sound?
Keshe is made of sound.
Do you heard
Your
about
sound is breaking up.
Okay.
Is
Sorry.
what we call
Sorry,
verb.
guys. First of all, Jedi, your sound is breaking up, and Armin is talking, and everything is going chaotic here. I'm going to show Jedi's. I'm going to show Jedi's site here, and try to skim through it here because he's put the link in, and he's talked about it several times, and Armin's glossed over it. But I wanted to show Armin what Jedi is trying to talk to him about and his site here. So maybe you can talk me through it, Jedi. I'm not sure what's here. You show a bunch of various pictures of, we see rhythmic patterns, and this apparently is of a rotating...
These peaks are what we were talking about. These peaks, magnetic pulsation. These are pulsations you find within GAN's rotors. All of them.
Of course, I understand.
Different pulsations.
Yeah, I've noticed the same thing. I've recorded them, the sound of it, for example.
Of course, if the fields are rubbing,
this is
what we call
we see.
Okay, can you explain me one thing? If
you see that there is harmonic. Yes, tell me.
Go ahead, Armin. You were saying?
All I'm saying, guys, if the sound is from two fields rubbing each other.
Yes, but that of course.
Not two, four.
Yeah, but then what you have but that applies on every level of existence.
So
not
every
just
level of existence, it comes from the sound. That's what you're saying?
No, I'm saying that what we call the sound is only within a bandwidth that our ears interact with. When people
in a matter state.
No, it's, well, yeah, I mean, we call it the matter state because it's a constant for us because we don't know how to retune at this point.
If you don't have an ear, can you?
Armin.
Because, okay, let me explain that. When you have music, it's not just the sound that you're hearing, that you're interacting with. You're interacting with the emotions of the performers playing. Their emotions can even be recorded and felt back from recording. It's the emotions. Those are on a much higher level of interaction. Those are in the emotional.
I can create the same music on a computer. Do you think emotion?
Sorry? Say again?
I can create same music on the computer. Is
yes.
it emotion?
You okay? Motion with the differentials of notes. It's no different than mixing colors and no different than mixing ganses. Absolutely the same thing. Mixing this gans with that gans, you get a shape.
The point is the fields. We're not talking about the matter, we're talking about the fields.
But the matter is the fields manifesting at a certain bandwidth.
Of course, matter is another state of the plasma.
It's just, well, the sounds are octaves. Our ears are tuned to the iodine.
From the sound. I will change totally my perspective that every single thing comes from the sound.
It's all sound, it's all color, it's all emotion. In other words, there's just different octaves of the same thing. They're octave replicas.
What is emotion?
Just different layers of the fields. Zinc down to oxygen. Between zinc and oxygen is a bandwidth of field strengths that are above our 5 senses. Anything from oxygen down is connected, tuned to the iodine, which is a hydrogen, C or whatever. It's actually a C on the piano. So it's just like you have the bandwidth of the soul of the man is got its own trillions of layers. And then the emotion from the zinc, it's another millions or billions of layers. And then you have the oxygen down to the hydrogen. Those are octaves. Between an octave of octaves is from 1 hydrogen to 128 iodine. So we're just in tune with those. Our ears are in tune with an octave of octaves we hear in the piano. If it goes above that, we can't hear it. If it goes below that, we can't hear it. But our emotions are tuned to much higher level, not just higher level, but more dense tuners. There's many more layers that can interact. So an emotional interaction can happen even without the sound. Deaf people dance to music in tempo. And when the tempo changes, they change their tempo of their dance. Yeah, so it's not just the matter level, that's just the bandwidth of our ears. Same thing with colors. I mean, the hospitals put certain colors in the rooms, not certain colors, because certain colors affect our emotions, right? So you look at a color, no different than a GANS material. It's the same phenomenon, it's plasma. It's just that our ears are tuned to a certain antenna array, if you will. If it's in between, we can't hear it. If it's below, we can't hear it. If it's above, we can't hear it. Same thing with our eyes, are in tune with the same key. In other words, you have to have every octave of the piano. You can't have one octave tuned to A432 and the next octave tuned to A440. Our iodine is really the note C on the piano and the red on the light spectrum, and it's also hydrogen 1, which is in tune with the oxygen and in tune with the iodine. It's all it's just the different octaves of the layering of the field spiraling out from the central core.
Mario?
Guys, really today I just want to, totally teach different things, but I will wait, because I see that, this is, maybe we're not there yet.
Well, we're also 4.5 hours into the workshop, Armin, and it's way past time for teaching. So I wanted to end an hour ago. But thanks everyone for your input today. It was great. A lot of strong ideas. And
just take a look, please. Yes, Rick, just take a look. That's all. It's just data. It's just data, but it's there. So there is nothing to add. That's good. We have pulsations. We have coherence, loss of coherence. So this means something. To the ones that are working within these fields with plasmatic, this is a different understanding. The shape in front of you is changing. It is not matter anymore. It is not matter state anymore. It's changing into something else. And you see the pictures there. Either you are bending light or you are bending physicality. So this is bending forward. Understanding is bending. And where is data. So there is nothing to add, only understanding. What does this mean? Loss of coherence. You're holding anymore. So you become energy. So you call it intent, whatever, consciousness, whatever. But shape is not there anymore. It is not round, it's not a ring, it's not a perfect sphere. That's all. That's all it is. It's losing coherence, so it's becoming something else. It's a fact. No drawings, pictures. Plasmatic pulses, it's a signature, it's a cycle, it's a vibration, harmonical. That's it. I'm not arguing. I just placed it there. It's free. See it by yourself. Do it.
Thank you. Thank you, Jedi. Okay, we're going to end things for today. I thank everyone for their input, and we'll see you same time, same place next week, as well as tune into the Knowledge Seekers Workshop, 280th Knowledge Seekers Workshop, coming up Thursday, 9 a.m. Central European Time, as usual. And I'm sure that'll be especially interesting workshop, I think. Okay, I'm going to have to end things for now, and get your presentations together for next week, and we'll have an equal fun time in interacting. Okay, this is the Keshe Plasma Reactor Group for Wednesday, June 12th, 2019. Rick Crammond here, out for now. And again, thanks to everyone for being here today. Alrighty.